There's a new force of nature at hand, stirring all over the world. They are the young people whom, frankly, we have failed, who are angry, who are organized, who are capable of making a difference. They are a moral army. And the most important thing that we can do for them is to get the hell out of their way.
The youth of today, like Nelson Mandela, who is now hailed as an icon of peace, must be ready to be called terrorists. We must be ready to be called criminals. We must be ready to be jailed for crimes we did not commit. We must be ready to be character assassinated like Ida Mtwana, Robert Sobukwe, Nkoputitiro, Steve Biko, Winnie Mandela, and Julius Malema.
We demand that the people who have been arrested and abducted be released unconditionally as a sign of goodwill. We demand that there be heads rolling in the police department because there are people who gave those orders. We demand as young people that you respect our lives, that you stop killing us. One life was one too many. There are people who will never walk again, and that's why we walk on the streets. And we demand that you follow this constitution, because all sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya and shall be exercised only in accordance to this constitution. And remember that while you can kill a revolutionary, you cannot kill the revolution.
We don't have a country here. We are useless. If it was for us, I would say, let's destroy this country. Watch the bomoka yote. But for our children and grandchildren. And that's why I support them. Let them teach us a lesson. Because we are jokers.
Sisi vile vile sio wote ambao wanataka ugomvi kwa sababu ya ugomvi.
Niwaambia nyinyi ni wajinga mkimfuata Ruto. Mkadhani tunawadanganya.
Jeti ya Ruto. Hii maisha ya Ruto ni stress na ni stress.
Mungu, wewe umetukosea.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for making time to join us. This is Sound Candid Talk, open forum political discussion show. The show that gives you an opportunity to air what you feel and think about the latest development on our political front. Well, a lot is taking place in our country. Most of it very discouraging to the masses. Well, Gachagua is not taking this lying down. Is put up a spirited effort to fight the impeachment through the courts. And so there was a hearing of his petition today. The 3-judge bench has been said by the Chief Justice to hear another petition on the same, as we even look forward on Wednesday when the impeachment hearing at the Senate will be beginning. That is, if the courts will not have called that off. Well, as that is happening, there was another impeachment today of the Kericho governor, which he escaped on technicalities. And it appears now the MCAs of Kericho are back on the drawing board in finding fault with their boss as they are sent back to go and organize themselves afresh it was thrown out on the premise that the number of MCAs that were to vote were not 2/3 as is required by the law. They were short of 1%. And on those grounds, the case was thrown out, and of course, it will be revisited. Well, as this continues, there has been an outrage on Raila Odinga's sentiments about the Adani deal, and the masses are not taking it lightly. But when this is coming in play, there is another new twist on the same. And this is not reported from an outsider, but an insider. Hamisi, the supporting member of parliament, has point blank given the true picture of what we may be dealing with, because the Raila Odinga we are dealing with now is not the one we are used to. And everybody's wondering what's going on. So there is what Hamisi has said that is very interesting, which I believe we will be able to focus on even as we dive into understanding what actually is going on. And I would just forthwith read out that aspect even before we go further into the show. But if you're getting us, please confirm you're getting us by letting us know where you're watching from in the comment section. And also, of course, make sure you don't watch the show alone. Invite somebody, remind somebody that the show is on, so that tujumuike pamoja tunapojifunza mengi tu wakati tunasikiliza Wakenya wa tabaka tofauti sehemu zote za dunia wakizungumza kuhusu nchi yao na masuala yanayokumba nchi hii na jinsi tutakavyonusurika kutoka kwa yote ambayo yamekumba nchi yetu. So huyu mbunge wa Saboti amesema kitu hapa, ningeomba kuwasomea a very, very interesting aspect. They say Raila has given up on you. You are on your own. You will cry for Baba, but you won't see him. Learn to support leaders who sacrifice for the good of the nation. This is how other countries are redeemed and saved from the yoke of despotic leadership. And that is what is leading to our question tonight. Is Raila Odinga turning his back on the Kenyans he has fought for all his life? Is this what he meant by Punda ameanguka? Well, let's think about that even as we look into what is happening and give it what sense it bears to us. And then, of course, the struggle continues. We are the ones on the front line. We should make sure that we do what we must do to get our country back. 44 people watching. Please, let's get to 100 and above. 35 people on Sound Candy Talk. Only 9 people on Sound Candy Talk live. Tafadhali inuka, simama, hakikisha hiyo link unashare widely. Get more people to join the discourse. This is where Kenyans meet and look into their manenos as far as their country is concerned. Freedom, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. And Raila is a public figure. We knew he was fighting for Kenyans. Beginning to doubt that, because whenever he's given a chance to join a corrupt government, he immediately drops Mandamano and joins. Okay. Well, Green, thank you for being here, for joining into the discourse. Dahi Abdi, karibu kwa show. Msimamo wetu, wewe una kesi ya kujibu, lakini karibu kwa show. Nani mwingine hapa? Talia Bless, karibu kwa show. William Adilo, karibu kwa show. Asante kwa kuwai. Nani mwingine? Tuni Muhammad 77, permanent secretary. Asante sana kwa kufika. Naomba tafadhali tumakinike kukaribishana. Kuna Shamil, welcome to the show. Habel Matende anasema Raila is not a liberator anymore. He has turned to a transactional politician. It is very sad. Okay, maoni yako hayo. Favor, thank you for being here. Kuna favor na kuna favored. Nakuambia mambo hapa ni mengi. Okay, kuna Sami Costa, karibu kwa show. Asante kwa wote ambao mnajiunga nasi TikTok. Naomba tafadhali share hiyo live ili wengi watupate na waweze kufuata kipindi kutoka pembe zote za dunia. Hapa ndipo Wakenya hukutana na kusema mambo yao kwa maneno yao, kwa lugha yao, jinsi wanavyoona mambo yanavyokwenda. Nchi hii imepita katika mambo mengi tu, na mengi ya hayo yamekuwa ya kutisha, mengi ya hayo yamekuwa ya kuumiza, lakini bado tuko hapa. Kwa hivyo ni lazima tujisatiti kuhakikisha kwamba we don't drop the ball here when it is required of us to rise up and pick it up, and of course ensure that we win at the last moment. Thank you everybody. Let's get talking. I appreciate everyone as you join from wherever you are. I can see Mr. Wangira is already here. Naomba wengine wote tukajoin kwa show na tukue mstari wa mbele kukaribishana. Kama wewe sio subscriber, hakikisha umesubscribe. Kama hujatufollow kwa TikTok, tufollow tafadhali. Na tuko live Facebook kwa Kibali Lounge page where we are streaming live. The other page has limited access for streaming, so we have already exhausted those limited access during the day, and so you will find us right on Sound Candy Talk YouTube channel, Sound Candy Talk Live YouTube channel, Kibali Lounge Facebook page, and then of course on TikTok we are still called Sound Candy Talk. I appreciate everybody. Let's get the video of the spirited efforts by Gachagua to save his skin from the impeachment. And then, of course, that is part of what we are looking at extensively to see to it that we see the end of the story or the end of the matter. Even as the National Assembly hands over the charges against Gachagua to the Senate, and everything is set to go as planned. Well, there is also a question being asked: can the courts reinstate Gachagua after he has been impeached by the Senate? A very interesting look at the whole thing. So, kwa makini tu. So
the High Court is on Tuesday expected to rule on whether it will issue conservatory orders barring the Senate from holding impeachment trial against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Gachagua told the High Court that the public participation exercise preceding the approval of the motion in the National Assembly was a sham that violated his rights. At the same time, Justice Eric Ogola will lead a 3-judge bench to hear and determine consolidated cases seeking to prevent that impeachment. Seth Olale has more.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's final attempt to stop Parliament from completing his impeachment process lies with Justice Checha Mwita of the Constitutional Division of the High Court.
Yes, in the council.
Justice Mwita will on Tuesday afternoon determine whether to issue conservatory orders barring the Senate from holding impeachment proceedings against DP Gachagua.
In the impeachment of our president,
Gachagua's lawyers, led by Paul Mwite and Tom Masharia, had argued that the National Assembly conducted a shambolic public participation exercise and that DP Gachagua's constitutional rights will be violated if the Senate proceeds with the impeachment process.
Within the hour of their doing that, it is our submission that one can expect a deputy president will have been appointed.
His Article 38 rights are taken away, and he cannot even return to his former position as the DO for Navakholo in Kakamega.
Lawyers representing the National Assembly, Senate, and the two speakers of the bicameral House, led by Paul Namodi and Eric Gumbo, objected the issuance of conservatory orders by Justice Chacha Mwita, arguing that the court has no jurisdiction to hear and determine the case filed by DP Rigathi, who they accuse of resorting to forum shopping in the corridors of justice.
This matter is not consolidated with the matter where the Kerugoya matter has been consolidated, and it cannot then be a proper exercise of this court's jurisdiction to turn petition number 550 of 2024 into the enforcement proceedings for orders made in petition number 14 of 2024 in Kerugoya.
In such instances, my lord, the courts would exercise judicial restraint and allow those proceedings to be completed, then make an inquiry.
With DP Gachagua's latest attempt to seek interim orders stopping Parliament from executing the impeachment process, Chief Justice Koome appointed a 3-judge bench to hear 5 consolidated petitions. The bench, which comprises Justices Anthony Mrima and Frida Mugambi, will be led by Justice Eric Ogola. The culmination of DP Rigathi Gachagua's impeachment proceeding will wind up at the Senate, but that will only be made possible by Justice Chacha Mwita's ruling on Tuesday at 2:30 p.m. here at the Milimani Law Courts. Seth Olale, Citizen TV, Nairobi County.
Mambo ni kama hayo, Gachagua akijaribu kujinusuru kutokana na impeachment yake ama kusikilizwa kwa kesi yake ya kutimuliwa na Senate. Ako mstari wa mbele in our courts trying to receive orders that may put to hold the impeachment process that is already underway in the Senate. Will he succeed with this, or it will flop? And remember the issue I was talking about. Wangira ni kama umetupwa nje. The issue I was talking about came into play today about court orders barring the Senate from presiding over a matter. And it was spelled clearly that due to the separation of powers, the programs or the schedule of the Senate cannot be put to hold by a court order. And so we seem, or rather Gachagua seems to be playing an attempt of trying to save himself using a means that may not necessarily stop the process, and probably he should look for how to be saved by the same. And that's a question being asked. Is it possible for the courts to reinstate him when the Senate has impeached him like governors? Because it appears there's a different law for president and the deputy president than for governors. The lawyers will be sharing all the same, and they would want to ventilate on the matters at hand. I can see most of us here on the comment section are still vilifying Raila Odinga on matters joining a corrupt government. But my question is, where is that corrupt government? How do you guys accept a corrupt government to be in existence and your only fight is to stop somebody from joining it? You hire a corrupt government, you put that government in State House, you pay it salary, and your only struggle is to stop somebody from joining that particular government. I don't know where you people come from. You just beat my understanding. Well, that corrupt government seems to be legitimately in office, put there in the broad daylight after the petition against that particular corrupt government was stamped to be hot air. And so if there is anything that we need to be fighting is the corrupt government. And we are not fighting it by saying nobody should join the corrupt government. If the corrupt government is in State House, drawing salary, signing deals, and running the affairs of the country, you better deal with the snake that is in the house and not stop people from entering the house where there is a snake. I think that's better responsibility. All in all, I think Raila giving up on Kenya is not anything strange. I will even give you the biblical version of the same. All that has been done in this country and all the injustices that have been visited on the man, somebody says he's revenging. I don't know how that is true. Let me just read that and then let Ongira weigh on what is happening. There is this other version of the matter, this Magi Rufa, is it Rafa or Rufa? Says shared something by Muhammad Waliye, MBS. He says Raila Odinga has a right to revenge. He presented himself 5 times and they mocked and vilified him all the 5 times. Even stole his wins sometimes, and he is serving it cold. We, his supporters, are hate watching it with what I can't see clearly. Like we hate to watch Manchester United matches. Baba kanyaga shingo. All right, let's keep going please. Hey, hiyo namba ya watazamaji imekwama hapo. Naomba tafadhali tuimakinike kukaribisha mtu. We should be at 100 plus right now. Sound Candy Talk Live inaonekana hakuna mkereketo huko. 59 people on Sound Candy Talk, and Sound Candy Talk Live iko na watu 10 peke yake. Naomba tafadhali share the link widely. Get more people to join. Let's get more Kenyans to participate into the show. Thank you so much for being here. Let's engage. Let's deliver. Mr. Ongira, how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing fine, Bernard. How are you?
I'm okay. Karibu.
Oh, thank you very much. You know, I saw that post by that member of parliament. I think it's for Kwanza. What's his name? I'm just forgetting. Okay. Who was saying that, you know, Raila Odinga has given up on Kenyans. Yeah, to me, I think Caleb, I know, Caleb. So he was saying that, you know, that Raila Odinga has given up on the Kenyan people. But to me, you know, I see it to the contrary, Bernard. And when I say I see it to the contrary, you know, it's we, the people of Kenya, who have given up on Raila Odinga. And, you know, the reason why we, the people of Kenya, have given up on Raila Odinga is because we have discovered that Raila Odinga is a mirage. And for those who don't know what a mirage is, you know, they should just Google and understand what a mirage is. So, you know, that's all that I can say. You know, when we found out that Raila Odinga was just a mirage, we gave up on him a long time ago and took our own walk, Bernard. Let me dwell much on, you know, the Rigathi Gachagua.
Before you let that go, now, if that's the case, why would he be a factor right now?
Bernard, we gave up on that gentleman long time ago. You know, he can continue with the political.
You have given up on him. Why should he be an issue? You give up on me. That means I'm a forgotten case. I don't exist, and what I do is none of your business. How come he says something and the whole country is on fire because he has said something?
you are dragging me back to something that I've already given up on. And because you are dragging me back there, let me just add one or two words, Bernard. Because of what I call political conmanship, Bernard, we gave up on that gentleman. And it's up to him to continue with his political conmanship, Bernard. We don't care. Let him do whatever he wants to do, but we gave up on him. And I don't want to dwell so much on.
You are now beginning to sound like a girlfriend who has been booted, and now you are claiming it is me who booted him. It is not him that booted me.
Allow me to dwell on the Rigathi Gachagua issue. Tomorrow, Justice Chacha Mwita will be giving a direction on what direction the Rigathi Gachagua impeachment will take. He could even end up giving Rigathi Gachagua the conservatory orders, or he could decide that that the matter continues in the Senate. So it's a wait and see. So tomorrow will be an interesting day for we people who are following keenly what is happening with this Rigathi Gachagua impeachment. But there's something that I heard attributed to the Speaker of the Senate, and you brought it here yesterday. And today I think I heard it also, where he's claiming that you cannot inject the Senate. Bernard, I listened to that guy, and he's a lawyer. He's an Alliance High School former student, and he's a lawyer. And I tend to believe that he should be understanding things better. Let me take a simple example. If tomorrow Justice Chacha Mwita gives a stay in this matter, pending, the hearing and determination of the whole issue before the three-judge bench, Bernard, assuming that there will be a stay pending the determination of this matter before the three-judge bench, and then the Senate disregards then at that particular stay and proceeds proceeds on with the impeachment judgment, because it's a proceeds with what we call the impeachment trial, and they find regarding Gachagua culpable, and they end up impeaching regarding Gachagua. How do they enforce such an impeachment? I just want to understand from a common sense perspective, how do you enforce it? How do you enforce it? Because even to swear in an incoming deputy president of the Republic of Kenya, it must be done by the registrar, the chief registrar of the judiciary, before the chief justice. So, you need the judiciary to bring in a new chief justice. And here you are telling us that you can disregard what the judiciary can come up to. But tell me, how can you enforce it? I just want to understand. You help me from, from a class one student understanding how that can be enforced. I see, an issue of ego. Ego is what I call ego. I remember there used to be what we used to call the service pride. For example, those times, when my father was in the police, the people in the army used to think that, they were highly rated than the police, that was their service pride. And, the police also used to regard themselves, as highly rated. So, I see ego here, playing out where, the Senate believes that, the judiciary can do nothing about whatever they are supposed to carry out. But that's wrong. It's wrong, Bernard. You remember the issue of BBI. The parliament was injected, and it could not proceed, Bernard, with the issue of BBI. It went to the High Court, it went to the Court of Appeal, and it even went to the Supreme Court. And remember, this happened after, the parliament had resolved by 2/3, if you remember. Parliament had then resolved both the Senate and both the Senate and the National Assembly then had resolved by over 3/3 of membership that BBI should proceed on. But when the matter went to court, what happened? What happened? So that is just ego. That's just ego. Because tomorrow, if
I think you're mixing two things here. There is what the Senate and the National Assembly are talking about is their schedule. Their program will go on. Now, the outcome of whatever they decide, is it enforced by the courts?
Bernard, so long as the court pronounces itself on something, then that pronunciation stands. Let me give you a practical example. You remember that immediately just after the promulgation of the new constitution, we were supposed to have gone for the new elections in the month of August 2012. What did the court pronounce? It said no. For this first election within the new constitution, we will not do it in the month of August. We will do it in the month of March the following year. That was the pronouncement. So, you cannot claim that, you are within a particular calendar. Because, the court has jurisdiction, Bernard, to even extend that calendar. It has jurisdiction to extend that calendar. It has the jurisdiction to say that calendar stops until this matter is heard and determined in court, which means that, immediately the matter is seized by the court, Bernard. Then, that period of 7 days, that period of 7 days, Bernard, does not count until this matter is heard and determined. So you cannot come out and argue that we have a tight time frame within which to dispense this matter. That is not arguable. It's not arguable. And I've just given you an example, Bernard, that for example tomorrow, if Justice Chacha Mwita gives a stay to this matter and says that the matter must be heard first before the 3-judge bench, before we decide whether the impeachment trial at the Senate can proceed or not, and the Senate proceeds with such a trial, how will you enforce it? How will you enforce it? How will you enforce it? It will become null.
Just a moment. You're telling me that the presidential petition is supposed to be heard and determined in 14 days. So you're telling me if I obtain a court order, okay, to stop the hearing of the petition of the presidential elections, okay, because maybe there are new evidences or new development that needs to be put together before we hear, the court order is able to push the 14 days ahead and let Kenyans wait until we have sorted this before the hearing starts?
First of all, this is not a presidential petition. Secondly, if the Supreme Court,
there is a reason why I'm talking about presidential petition, because
I know where you are coming from.
14 days.
I know where you are coming from.
It's supposed also to be determined within 14 days. How do we deal with these 14 days?
I know where you are coming from. I know where you are coming from. For example, in 2027, if somebody moved to the Supreme Court to challenge a presidential election, and within their own reasoning and understanding, the judges of the Supreme Court at that particular time interpreted that we can extend this 14 days period for the hearing of the presidential petition, Bernard, that will become it. That will become it. It will become it.
Okay. Let's allow Nani to wherever. I got to weigh on the same, but before that, let's just get this mix into the two. This video about can the courts reinstate Gachagua after the courts have impeached him? Is he among the schedule of the reinstater group? Ama Ioni Amagawana. Let's just listen out to what these guys are saying.
Let me just before you play that clip. Before you play that clip, let me just say something. Can I say something?
Yes. What is it?
Bernard, we have precedences here. You remember there was a case in Wajir about, you remember the Wajir governor? The guy was impeached and there was a new deputy governor. The deputy governor was even sworn in to become governor. If you remember that thing, what happened? The matter went up to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court overturned the swearing in of the new governor, and the old governor became the governor. So there are precedences that even if you are to swear in a new deputy president, and Rigathi Gachagua argued his case to the letter, the court could still determine that, he was unfairly removed and he could be reinstated as deputy president.
Okay. Thank you. Let's get this out of the way as we move forward.
Confidence of a victory in the court. And you very well know that impeachment is a political process, but that line between law and politics is not sharply divided. So let's talk about the degree of judicial intervention available for such a high-level impeachment process. Perhaps more specifically, can the court reinstate Gachagua as the deputy president if the Senate votes to uphold the impeachment?
The court remains the temple of justice.
Okay.
And the court is given the supervisory role in all constitutional matters. So the issue, court has its place, but court does not operate in a vacuum. The power to impeach was given to this branch or arm of the government.
Yes.
Court, therefore, probably can be limited to the processes and cannot go as far as retrying, because that's not their mandate. It's the same constitution that formed, actually the court also represent the people, given by the people the power. So I don't see a very heightened role for the court. I will lower my expectation with court for several reasons. A judge judges. Now, if the Senate, if the Parliament have impeached him, then to what extent are you going to supervise if you say now you go back and work as a deputy president when they sit in the National Security Council, when they do that delegation? That's why even the outrightly court prefer compensation than forcing labor, where the relationship, especially between the superior or the subordinate or the deputy and the chief, the main agent, is deteriorated. So court has a role, but within playing that role, a court is aware that this issue of impeachment was given to Parliament. Have they exercised their mandate according to the Constitution, knowing that public participation is still not guided and other issues here and there? And so if you are a judge, the line between politics and law cannot be divided so sharply. Law is to create order, not disorder. And law is to regulate relationship. So if you are handing it back and saying, you know what, I disagree with what the Parliament have done, you might have a higher threshold, not just a hunch that I feel what you did is not okay, because they're also exercising their constitutional mandate. So in short or in brief, I've really lowered. I don't know why they feel they have a better chance in court than the Senate. For me, I will rather batter the Senate, glorify them, put that case as humanely as possible in the Senate, and lower expectation in court. You know that right now, there is about 22 applications that court have kind of refused to injunct the process, because court can also have a hunch that maybe we can be used, and they are waiting to see first. So by the time this is done, and by the time the panel is empaneled and the court come and sit, will there be much left for them to decide?
Okay, but someone can argue what we saw with Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza. The court did give recourse. And even as you just weigh in on that, does the deputy president perhaps have any other options, since he mentioned that he will not resign?
Yeah, he has options. When we talk of court, it's the temple of justice, and it is available for everyone, and it is our stabilizing force, because we'll rather have that body that we can all go when we feel we have been done wrong, and they can speak with authority. And so that is where court comes in. So there is a slim chance in court. It's only that it is realistically, dwindling, and not very clear how court can then say, ignore what Parliament have done, ignore all this evidence, and I'm going to reinstate you as the deputy president. Can they do it? Yes. Will they do it? Maybe wait and see. Okay. But I don't see why there's so much hope in the temples of justice.
In 30 seconds or so, as we...
Mambo ni kama hayo, wanasheria hapo wakipeana maoni yao kuhusu masuala haya. Haya, Eric, habari ya siku nyingi?
Habari ya siku nyingi tu, uko aje?
Niko salama.
Hata mimi niko salama, na ngoja Yesu polepole.
Amina, Yesu anakuja hivi karibuni. Lakini kabla yake ni Adani.
Okay, thank you very much. So let me weigh in about this issue of you can hear me?
Yes, we can get you. Just go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm saying let me weigh in this issue of Gachagua and Raila supporting Adani. Sometimes I get mad, and sometimes I feel like crying. Raila Odinga, who has represented himself like 4 or 5 times for Kenyans to choose or elect him to run this country. I was in another show and I told those people one thing. Raila Odinga was not Jesus, who was born to die for everybody and die for Kenyans forever. He is a human being, he is aging. If he chooses to have his retirement in peace and in his own style, I think nobody should blame Raila Odinga for that. He has tried, he has really tried. So kwa baba mimi sina shida, wacha baba afanye yale anataka. Because even if baba fight for Kenyans and avail himself in 2027, they will still have the ethnic balkanization against him and they will not vote for him. So nobody always vote for Raila to be in opposition. We, the people who vote Raila always, we only vote him to be in government. If he fails to capture government, whatever happens after that, we don't know. You cannot elect a thief and expect Raila, whom you abuse, to look to look how you are being stolen, or to fight their thief on your behalf. That one, I will not enter that discussion. Let me weigh in on the discussion of regarding Gachagua. The people who are still believing that court will stop a process that has started in court, in parliament, they are daydreaming. Tomorrow it will come, the parliament, the impeachment will go on. That's why Rigiji knows. He's also waiting for that court order, and still he took volumes of documents in his defense. So he knows that courts is just playing dilly-dallying. He wants just to engage and keep his supporters busy. He wants to make his supporters see that he's doing something, which is very good. But angeenda koti before that process in court ingekuwa sawa. But once that process has kicked on in the parliament, hiyo itaenda mpaka mwisho. So where court will save him is after election, after the impeachment voting on Thursday. If he impeached because he will be impeached, he doesn't have numbers, the only people who could have saved him is ODM. And I'm not seeing the reason why ODM should even save Gachagua, because it is Gachagua who has been very hard on ODM. So if it is the time for ODM to peel back the mask, they have no sympathy. And I'm hearing people saying the ODM should sympathize for what? For why? Give me the reason why ODM you feel should actually, or Raila Odinga should order his troops to save Gachagua. Why? For what reason? Because politics is interest. Do ODM and Gachagua have any interest? No. So ODM is a party, they can choose to make their decision. So Gachagua will be impeached. The only time Gachagua will be safe, and this is what many people are not telling you, is not even going to court, because Gachagua has abused even the judges. The other day, he dealt with another judge called somebody minor. So I don't think if it is a matter of going to court, the judiciary will save him, because Gachagua is a man with a high salvo. Ruto used to charge him, ban the bridges in opposition, ban the bridges in judiciary, ban bridges in parliament, he banned bridges everywhere. Even his area MP cannot vote for him. He banned bridges everywhere. So even this judiciary will not save him. The only thing that will save Gachagua is we don't have an IBC. Because Gachagua is going to be impeached, President has 14 days to appoint a new deputy president. And that deputy president, that name must be taken to a vetting by a returning officer as per the law. And the returning officer, because being that the deputy president is elected, is the national chairman of IBC, or election body, that we don't have. That is what lawyers will not tell you, because they want to eat money of Gachagua, of going to court. These people who are supporting court processes, they know Gachagua is not going home. They know Gachagua has a place there, he will land. And when that name will not be subjected it is only IBC that can vet a candidate to see if a candidate is fit for the office. Then after that vetting, and in fact, by that time, President can even choose 2 or 3 or 4 names, take them to IBC. IBC can actually approve 2 or 1 or 3. The Parliament will vote on those names. Whoever emerges the winner becomes the deputy president, because the deputy president is elected. So Parliament, because we will not go for a general election, so Parliament will vote on behalf of people. That's why those names, even if they are 3 or 4, they are being taken to Parliament. Parliament is only voting, and the one who emerges the winner becomes the president, the deputy president, on behalf of people. So that tells you that the deputy president is elected. So after Parliament is when we can have a swearing in. So where we will have a problem is the case of Anna Kananu and Mike Sonko. You remember? When the deputy Igade resigned, what happened? Sonko chose the name of Anna Kananu, subjects that name to the county returning officer for approval. As IBC, they must vet every candidate that is liable to hold office, or else somebody can even pick a foreigner. You can pick a foreigner or somebody in Venezuela to be the president, and you can whip the MPs to vote on that person, and that person becomes the deputy. So we have the role of IBC waiting for us. So being that the IBC is not in place, and I'm not seeing IBC being formed in the next 10 days, so Gachagua will still be the deputy president, because after that, even if you say we can't, we surpass the role of IBC, somebody will again, or Gachagua will go to court and say, for somebody to be the deputy president, we have an electoral body to vet and actually approve him and give him eligibility to run and be elected as the deputy president or even an MP. That's why we cannot do by-election in Ogonja. That's why we cannot do by-election in somewhere in Mombasa, in Kilifi, or where I think we have by-election of MCS. We can't do them. So why are we discussing this Gachagua issue? Gachagua will be the deputy president. We are just wasting our time. It is just we are not seeing ahead. All these things Gachagua is going to do in court.
Ngoja kidogo. So unataka kunambia Kisii hawana deputy governor?
Kissi?
Yes. Because
they don't have. They don't have.
Are you sure?
Kissi has no deputy governor. Maybe there is just somebody who is acting.
He was vetted by the wherever the county assembly. Oh.
They don't have.
Yes.
We have county returning officer. Remember, who declares the election at the county? We have county returning officer that must vet that name.
Are permanent employees of IBC.
Yeah.
So okay. Let me Wangira, what are you saying? Just a moment, Dayaga.
Eric started by saying that some of us who believe that Rigathi Gachagua will get anything from the court, we are daydreaming. Then he's quoting provisions of the Constitution that do not exist anywhere. Because the Constitution of Kenya is very, very clear that when Rigathi Gachagua is impeached, William Samoei Ruto shall nominate somebody within 60 days. And that person shall be approved by Parliament. And when that person is approved by Parliament, he becomes the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya after being sworn in. So I don't know which provision or which constitution.
60 days or 14?
Me, I'm a man of. I am a man of details.
The audience should not note down something that is not confirmed. Is it 14 days or 60 days? Because I'm hearing the 60 days.
Okay. Bernard, I think you should not grant that.
Ayaga, hold on. Let him prosecute. You respond before we bring in Msimama. Yes, Wangira, confirm if it's 14 or 60, so that we don't give out information that is not accurate. Yes, carry on.
Bernard,
Wangira, you have
the Kenyan Constitution 2010 that I every day carry here and is here with me is very, very clear that within 60 days, get the word is within. It could be on day 1 or the 60th day. The president shall nominate a name that he shall present to Parliament. And National Parliament shall approve. And when Parliament approves, that person becomes deputy president. So, I don't get this blah, blah, blah of Eric, where he's talking about IBC, blah, 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 IBC. Where does IBC come in here, Bernard? And you have just given him a simple example of, the case of Kissi, where the deputy governor was impeached. What was the input of IBC in that particular nomination and approval of the new deputy governor for Kissi? That's a case study that he should not just be, that he should not just go back to Bernard. It's just very, very clear. So, by saying that, we don't have IBC, so regarding Gachagua shall continue being deputy president, it's neither here nor there. If Rigathi Gachagua is impeached and is not served by the court, he ceases to become deputy president, and William Samoei Ruto within 60 days nominates another person who, after approval by parliament, becomes the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya. That is the Kenyan Constitution 2010, unless he's quoting the Constitution of Somalia or Uganda.
It's okay, Mr. Wangira. So according to you, according to Wangira, IBC is irrelevant in this matter. Ayaga, please.
Bernard, there is no deputy governor in Kissi. And if you have a deputy governor in Kissi, please give me a clip and which judge sworn that guy in as a deputy governor, or even a video. Try to look for one. Yes, you can appoint somebody to be there, but give me that clip and the day that guy was sworn in as the deputy governor. I'm saying this. Yes. Relax. I'm saying this. For the president shall nominate within 14 days, and that 60 days, because our constitution anticipates that there will be maybe issues when we impeach. We have 60 days to clear cases because the case will be taken to court. So court will have 60 days. So all these things will end within the 60 days as stipulated by the law. But president has 14 days to appoint, to nominate. After that nomination, that name, the reason why that thing will go to court, that name must be taken to the IBC and approved by the returning officer of the national. Take it to the bank. And that's where Rig-G, so the people who believe in courts, that's where the court is going to grant a Rig-G a stay order. But the stay order in the process, when the process is going on, that is a forgotten issue. If you want to argue about it, we will be here after tomorrow. There will be no grant. And on Thursday, the process will go on. In fact, the judge will make a ruling when Rig-G is on the Senate defending himself. If Rig-G believes in court, he should not go to Senate to defend himself. He should just stay at home with his supporters and wait for the court ruling. But instead, I'm telling you, he will be there at the court, at the Senate, defending himself. Within those 60 days that my brother is quoting Bernard, we must clear all the cases because the case will be taken to court. Nauko, by quoting the Anne Kananu and Sonko case, that's where Rig-G will get a stay order because it was a ruling by the High Court of Kenya, and that ruling has not been challenged, and it can be used anytime. That's only the place I think Rig-G, can get a breathing space.
Hold your thought there, please. It is heating up. Msimamo tumekuona, subiri tu hapo. Kiprilu ana la kuingilia hapa. Kiprilu, umeconfirm. Kuna governor Kisii? I mean the deputy governor.
No, there is. It's lawful. First of all, I think you're just becoming heated up and misquoting the Constitution. The Constitution is clear from both ends, what Rig-G is doing and what the Senate is doing. Let me just do a few quotes here. So the first thing is, impeachment comes in, Senate does the trial after the National Assembly. Sindio? Once it's been confirmed he's been impeached, and Senate uploads the impeachment, the place becomes vacant. Appointment of the new DP is done within 60 days in Article 147, which is approved by the Senate and the National Assembly. Now, what Rigiji is doing with the lawyers is absolutely correct. If you find the impeachment process unlawful, flawed, unfair, and unconstitutional, unaenda kwa High Court and then the Supreme Court. So that in this case, the interjection, it can be temporarily halted. The impeachment can be temporarily halted in effect of the case being heard, and then it goes through the judicial review. So both cases are okay. It's in the constitution. So watu wapigane huko. So vile koti inafanya kazi yake ni vile koti inafaa kufanya kazi yake. Vile Senate inafanya kazi yake ni vile Senate inafaa. Of course the Senate is going to defend itself and say, hey, we're doing it the right way and we must continue. So this both speakers wamefanya nini? Both speakers have sent their own lawyers. The National Assembly has sent lawyers to represent themselves. The Senate has also sent lawyers to go represent themselves. And they will continue until there's a ruling by the High Court to hold the impeachment proceedings. Inaekwa pause tu kidogo, alafu iendelee. And after that, under the hakuna mention constitution about IEBC hapa. There's no mention about the IEBC here. It is huyo Ruto atakuja kusema nataka hii na hii, iende National Assembly waseme tutaki hiyo, come try again, ama waseme tick, weka Gladys Wanga ama weka Kindiki, weke Soprano. It is all in the only problem is what we feel emotionally as Kenyans is the impeachment is in bad faith. We all know that. This impeachment is in bad faith. That is the only part I can agree with all what you're saying. Ruto wants to get rid of Rigiji because he's as filthy as Rigiji. There's no, that one we cannot, that's the part we should argue about. But in terms of the process, what to see wajinga, they fooled us. So this kangaroo court is just a show for us. We don't know what if Ruto has paid those allegedly paid all those judges njo ikifika huko sasa it's lawful. Mutasikia to hot air, mutasikia. You remember when Raila and Martha Karua lost the election? Said we will respect the High Court decision, the Supreme Court's decision, but we do not agree with it. It's going to be the same thing. So I think hii kitu ya kuongea juu ya IBC and going technical about the 60 days, the process is going the way it's supposed to be. It's just in bad faith. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, I want us to progress so that we don't dig in too much, but let's just hold the thoughts. We can always revisit. Tumemshikilia msimamo kwa muda mrefu na hajakuwa hapa, sijui alienda kutafutia misemo mpya. Anafanya maandalizi ya Mashujaa Day. Hali vipi msimamo? Msimamo upo ama umeenda kwa stadium?
Aiki lakini si
mgeni njoo mwenyeji apone. Mashujaa sasa barabara mmetengenezewa.
Mimi kama ungejua vita nilivyo huko hata hapo Mashujaa ile si kionekana kama patakalika hapo. Maana mimi nimekiwasha chakwale sijapumzika. Sasa huku nina uhasama sana kwa sababu wengi mwandani bwana. Sasa ngijaribu kuzungumza mimi najikuta niko peke yangu huko. Kwa hivyo hiyo Mashujaa ya wengine, mimi msimamo bado ningali na msimamo wangu jamaangu. Unanipata Benard?
Unapatikana.
Lakini hata hivyo kwanza habari za siku nyingi, ndugu yangu hapa Kip, mzee wetu Lala na wale wengine wametangulia kuzungumza Wangira na ule brother. Then wale wako kwa comment section Ni kweli nimepotea, ni mwanampotevu, lakini sasa nimerudi tena back. Unajua njaa sometimes inaweza kuacha ukaambiwa huyu jamaa hatendi matanga wala hatumoni kwa maharusi, kumbe njaa tupu. Njaa bwana ina vikwazo. Lakini hata hivyo namshukuru, ni buheri wa afya, kidogo mmesumbuliwa na miguu, lakini nimerudi. Sikuwa na hali nzuri Bernard, ndio maana ukimya wote ule, but namshukuru Mungu, nipo, nimerudi ka msimamo. So kwangu mimi nasema hivi, nimefuatilia hii hoja ya wanakatiba hapa wakimenyana, umeelewa, Wangira na ndugu yangu hapa, lakini mimi yangu yote 9 leo nitakuwa na msimamo wangu tu kivyangu, maana nimepeza hapa, so utaniwia radhi kidogo, maana ni mzee wa nasaha, nikumbushe wenzangu hapa. Bernard, sikio la kufa siku zote halisikii dawa. Sikio la kufa halisikii dawa. Na kwa nini nizungumzie hivi? Mnajua ninashangaa sana na Wakenya. Sijui hizi chanjo zile za wakati ule zilituzubaisha ama ni vipi? Yaani nashindwa kuelewa hapa kwa kweli, hakika nashindwa kuelewa kabisa, kwa maana tunaelewa jinsi siasa yetu Kenya inavyochezwa. Yaani unayemthamini kusema ndiye sometimes sie, na unayesema sie sometimes ndiye. Yaani hiyo ndio siasa ya Kenya yetu ilivyo, kwamba wanaogombana mchana usiku marafiki, wanaogombana usiku mchana ni marafiki. So hili la Gachagua hili, kimtazamo wangu mimi kama msimamo, ukilitazama nitaungana huko, kaka amesema kwamba kaka Kipa kwamba linapelekwa in bad faith, na kila ilivyo siku njema huonekana usubuhi. Siku njema ya Ruto alianza na revenge, kama tunakumbuka, yani aliingia na gea ya revenge. So mimi sina shaka na hili kwamba ni revenge, it's also revenge. Kila alipitia basi anamalizana, kwa sababu akiweka ahadi yake. Huyu huwa always akizungumza haya anamaanisha kinyume, anachokizungumza basi anamaanisha kinyume chake. So kwa kweli hii hali hata kama ndivyo, lakini haipelekwi kisawa, kwa sababu ukiangalia, hata nimefuatilia haswa wabunge wetu walivyokuwa na haraka ya mambo, kiasi kwamba hata Rigiji akikimbia kotini sawa, lakini tunaamini kwamba yupo mtu ambaye iko above the law. Maana si mara moja, si mara mbili tumemshuhudia mahakama inazungumza hili na yeye anatoa na maamuzi yake, na Wakenya bado tunasonga mbele. Ndio hapo napozungumzia kuhusiana hizi chanjo. Hivyo basi kwa kweli mimi kimtazamo wangu leo nitaingia zaidi haswa kwa viongozi wa dini zote zilizo hapa Kenya. Kwa kweli hili ndio kosa kubwa. Wakenya, hili ndio linalotupiga zaidi. Maana wakati kama huu ungekuwa dini imesimama kidedea haswa kuweza kuizungumza kweli, na pia kuweza kuizungumza hofu ya Mungu, ili tuwe na pendo, tuwe na pendo haswa, haya hatungekuwa tunayashuhudia. Lakini kama dini imemezwa, hofu ya Mungu haipo, pendo halipo, sasa kilichobaki ni ghadhabu ya Mungu, ambayo sometimes huja kwa haraka, sometimes ikaja kwa kuchelewa. Kwa kweli Bernard, mimi huwa nasikia uchungu sometimes nikikaa nafikiria taifa langu. Ndio maana mimi huwa siko huko sasa hivi, siko huku, niko kwa ajili tu ya taifa peke yake. So hivi vitimbi tunaviona, Rigiji kama wamepanga, kuna mtu yuko above the law, kwamba yeye akisema amesema. Na kama hili jambo limepangika kisawasawa kama tunavyolishuhudia, hizi ndoa ambazo watu wameuana hafla, lazima kulikuwa na mikataba. Je, kama mikataba hii ndani yake ni kwamba utatupa makamu wa rais? Ndio maana nasema wanasiasa ndo wale wale. Siku zote nikizungumza vita vyetu vyangu vikubwa mimi ni hawa wanasiasa, ndo wale wale. Mlikuwa mnadhania kwamba sijui msimamo anasema haya kwa nini? lakini ni wale wale. So ndio sawa, limechukua kwa baadhi fate, Gachagua anaondolewa hapa kinyama, lakini nakumbuka Uhuru, mheshimiwa rais wetu mstaafu Uhuru, kuna clip fulani haswa niliwahi kuisikiza kipindi fulani ambayo alisema kwamba alianza na kusema hivi, unaweza anza safari haswa na mwenzako ukiwa ndani ya swafi. Unaweza anza safari na mwenzako ukiwa na nia swafi kabisa, lakini ukifika kukaribia akakoti, hakusema mahali wapi, but akakoti. Ukitazama nyuma, viti vimeng'olewa, havijulikani viko wapi. Abiria nao washaanza kuporwa mali, na hata ukimwambia gurudumu ndio ile limechomoka ilipelekwa fundi, anaenda naliuza huko huko, nayo anaenda naweka na gari nyingine. Tumeonywa nao na mengi ambao Uhuru ameweza kuyazungumza, still bado watu walimpiga vita, especially watu wake wa kwanza kumbetea ni watu wake. The same thing applies kwa baba sasa hivi wenye analalamika kuhusu baba wa Kenya. Sisi sijui ni hizi chanjo ndo zimetulemeza, maana ni wengi wa kushangaa la leo, lakini hatuwezi kushangazwa na lile ambalo limetokea jana likatufunza na tukatafutia suluhu. So kwa sababu tuko katika huu mrengo huwa kwamba tunaletewa jipya, tunaangalia hilo, tukiletea jipya leo, kesho tuangalia hilo, hatutazami yale ambayo ya kunyuma, tunajipata tuko hapa. Jamaa wanatutumia tu tulivyo, kwa sababu ni wenye kushangaa. So Bernard, cha msingi mimi langu ni kuomba tu viongozi wa dini leo wazungumze katika madhahabu kweli ya Mungu, ili tuopotane na hii hofu ambayo imetuondokea miongoni mwetu, maana tumewapisha haswa wenye kujivika ngozi ya kondoo kwenye madhabahu, na ghadhabu ya Mungu inakutugolea macho. Asante kaka Bernard, nitaanzia tu hapo kwanza kwa ufunguzie, nikachemka sana. Asante.
Asante basi. Ushatangaza, tumesikia. Asante. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Please, let's be on the forefront to invite each other as we build up. It is 20 minutes to 1 a.m. East African time. Let's keep inviting each other and ensure that you are liking the video, please, especially what was Sound Candy Talk Live. The likes on the video are very low. And the views are very high. So please, kabla upige kura yako, hakikisha umelike video, and then of course share your link na mtu, ili huyo mtu to discover and then be able to follow the proceedings.
Amuna internet 16 to 17th, Bernard.
16 to 17.
Angalia message yako utajua.
Mungu saidia Kenya. Aya, ni nafasi yako, then bring love.
Yeah. Sasa inaonekana Shujaa Day is which day, Bernard?
Mashujaa Day is 20th of October.
Okay, then there's nothing nefarious. So 16th to the 17th hatutakuwa na stima, hatutakuwa na internet, sijui Safaricom wanafanya nini, or what we're expecting about those e-fiber internet maintenance yani inakuanga very intensive, where the whole country comes in a standstill. Yeah, you know,
where we have never had that before.
Yes, no, last time with the Gen Z banda.
If there is any upgrading or any changes, they are done at night, then no, there's no time when we absolutely don't have internet. So that could be a new scheme.
It happened before when we had Mandamano. Don't you get it? There's something happening. Ama watazima taa airport iende. So this fake government, Kenyans, you have to be careful. There's something big that is about to happen, na tutaumia. As for Gachagua, like I said earlier on, Jolala kuja, so I don't want to take too long so that we can hear from Reverend. As for Shujade, I mean not Gachagua, his case is rested. Huyu mtu anaenda. I don't know what he's struggling to do. He's not Ruto. He thinks he can play the same tricks Ruto. Unajua Uhuru ana utu. Uhuru alionea hii mtu huruma. Nasema you know, wacha tu akaekae, hata kama anasumbua, wacha akaekae, I'll get rid of him and then Raila can come and take over. These full things, the same ile wembe ni ule. I wish hata msimama angesema hivyo. Wembe ni ule. So the same court that gave him the election that was stolen is the same court that is going to find that this impeachment was constitutional and was not done unfair. Ataambiwa vitu kama hot air, ataambiwa vitu kama wild goose chase. Akimbie court, it's fine. And they will have a hurried and fast, very quick judgment. Atastuka sana. Or it will take its course. Itakuwa 7 days. Ruto is not in a hurry for this. He's not in a hurry. Once it's done, my friend Gachagua, when I was here with Angira, when I was here with Jakindo Bay, talking about if this man had just resigned, and I resigned too. Okay, I've resigned as deputy president. Aenda pige kelele huko nje as much as he wants. Hiyo pesa yote now ile pesa yote alikuwa ameiba. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. Angekuwa ameshaenda aweke offshore, afiche kila mahali. Sasa aanze campaign na watu wake sasa. Hii mlima anaongea. He can now campaign for the next 2-3 years to be the kingpin of who can build his people now. But the fool decides to lock on with Ruto. Anajua Ruto ni nani huyu? Ruto started politics as an MP of Eldoret North over 25 or 30 years ago. Never known any other job. Yeah, ameanza from administration, from administration of the government. He's just a civil servant. One-term MP coming to compete with a heavyweight like Ruto. Atakanyagwa. And the embarrassment, let's just be frank here. I'm not citating Ruto, I'm just telling you as fact. The embarrassment that Gachagua has taken Ruto through. Aitaisha hapo. This guy he's got a heart of revenge. Hamujui Ruto. What he's going to do is, after the impeachment, he'll be a toothless dog. He'll be a toothless dog. Zile makesi zitarudi. My God. Gachagua atakuja kujua. Hiyo pesa yote ameiba, all those properties zitarudishwa kwa mashamba mwenyewe. Kwanza hizo mahoteli amenunua. Change of names immediately to Ruto Singh. Kwanza Ruto is salivating for those properties right now, the ones for Rigathe's brother, allegedly. Ruto is salivating for those things. So Gachagua, you're wasting your time. You think the processes, just because they appear to be right, are going to be done right. Ile shimo uliingilia ni ile shimo utatokelezea. Uliingia na backside, utatoka na backside. You'll be shut out. Thank you. Thank you, Bernard.
Okay, thank you, Kipril. Msimamo uinua mkono.
Ndio nimeinua mkono maana na wasiwasi. Naweza temwa nje, na kuna ndugu yangu Ogola ameniuliza swali zuri hapo. Ameniuliza kwa nini siasa imeingia zaidi kwa makanisa si kwa misikiti. Sasa nikawa na wasiwasi nikatimuliwa hapa bila kumjibu, nitakuwa sijamtendea haki na pia sijatendea haki nafsi yangu. Kwa nini siasa imeingizwa katika makanisa? Ni kwa sababu makanisa yameacha kuhubiri dhambi, na kila ilivyo kizuizi cha mema ya mtu ni dhambi yake mwenyewe. So makanisa yameacha kabisa kuzungumzia dhambi, tumestiki na unabii. Sasa na kila ilivyo, vitabu hivyo vya Mungu vinasema siku za mwisho kutakuwa na wengi manabii wa uongo. Sasa siasa imedungwa katika unabii, na manabii wengi ndio wale wanaovaa ngozi ya kondoo, kumbe ndani ni mbwa mwitu. Na tukirudi kwa misikiti, si kwamba labda halipo, lipo, kwa maana tumekuwa hapa wakati ule wa mwanzo Azimio ikileta huku Waislamu wakina Sheikh Juma Ngao, utakuta nao wengine kule akina Dan Duele nao wanafanya karamu zao kule. So si kwamba labda halipo kwa Waislamu, lipo, lakini kwa sababu huku nako wana ile hofu ya Mungu bado ipo kati yao. Nafikiri hilo ndo sababu kuu, naweza nikamjibu huyu kaka. Makanisa yameacha sana zaidi kuzungumzia, kuhubiri the word dhambi, haswa neno dhambi haswa. Laiti kama lingekuwa linahubiriwa, basi hata wengine hapa ungekuwa na hofu kwa yale ya mauaji ama machafu ambao wanaweza kuyatekeleza, kisha mwisho wanakimbia tena huko kwa makanisa kuweza kujisacrifice na kujisafisha. Asante kakangu Bernard kwa kunipa huo muda, na nimjibu huyo kakangu Ogola.
Thank you Msimamo. Labda kwa kuongezea tu, kusudi la kanisa ni kama limepotea, na of course kupotea kwa kanisa ni vile kanisa lilipoanza kutegemea wanasiasa, sio tu kuhubiri kutegemea wanasiasa, ile ambayo sasa mwanasiasa amepewa kipaumbele katika masuala ya kutatua matatizo ya kanisa. Whereby if you have a building project, ni mwanasiasa. If you have you want to start a school, ni mwanasiasa. Those things were not common in the past. It is now very common. Hata nilikuwa nauliza hapa, kusudi la president kuhudhuria kutawazwa kwa askofu linatokea wapi? Kazi ya president kwa kutawazwa kwa askofu wa eneo fulani la kanisa linaingilia wapi? President is a political leader. We are religious leaders. We are making a religious leader. We are ordaining. What role does a president play in that? That he has to be invited as a chief guest and give a speech in that. I mean, how does that work? How does that help? So the mixing of the two things is the main problem. As well, when the church became beggarly and it began to depend on the politician for survival. And that was the beginning of the authority of the church over the nation. And we can only do that by walking away. The best example is Moses. Bible says when he realized that he's not a son of the daughter of Pharaoh, he decided to walk away and go and suffer with his people, other than enjoy the season of sin by being called convenient names of the son of the daughter of Pharaoh. So mpaka kanisa ifike mahali ambapo litakataa kusifiwa na wanasiasa, litakataa kutambuliwa na wanasiasa, litakataa kutegemea wanasiasa, and declare independence. Liwe liwalo. Whatever politicians do will not affect what the church must do. And the church must do what they must do the right way. That is when we will recover authority again. In the meantime, the struggle continues. Nimlete moja kwa moja Reverend Lala, alafu mama. Reverend Lala, here we go.
Asante Bernard, asante Kipril, I heard your voice. Mary Wainaina and Msimamo, sijakuona kwa muda mwingi sana share. It's good to hear your voice na all of you in the background. Nina story moja nimesikia. Yaani huyu jamaa alifariki akaenda mbinguni. Alipofika mbinguni akakutana na Peter. Na Peter alikuwa ni kama protocol officer kuonyesha watu how heaven is like. Sasa Peter akamchukua akaenda huko mbinguni, wakaangalia vile vitu vilivyo huko, utulivu, watu wana worship and glorifying God, and they are all the silence and crystal waters, and everything else was calm. Everything is going on well. And alipofika kule akaambiwa bado kuna pale pengine unaweza pia kuona. Alafu akaambiwa kama unataka kuona utakupatia angel moja akupeleke huko pale tunaitwa hell. So basi akatembea huko chini, akaingia huko hell. Alipoingia huko hell akapata muziki napigwa, bangi inavutwa, watu wanacheza, marafiki zake walikuwa pale wako na sherehe ya ajabu hapo. Mambo alikuwa mazuri, drinks are flying, you know, everywhere, and then after he had seen hell, akarudi kwa Mungu, akaulizwa, basi sasa wewe chagua pale utaenda. Akafikiria akasema, lakini mbinguni kuna tu tulivu, watu wanakuwa worshiping, lakini huko hell kuna life. Okay, mimi nitaenda kule hell. What I was told about hell is not true. Hell si pabaya, watu wanavuta, wanapata, you know, all kind of fun. Basi aliporudi akachagua akasema mimi nitaenda hell. Huko ndio kuzuri, huko heaven watu wanakunywa maji, wana worship Yesu kila wakati, hatutaki kwa huku. Kuna fun ni huko hell. Aliporudi huko hell, this time alikuta sasa watu wanalia. Alikuta matezo. Alafu akauliza, lakini ilitoka hapa tu yesterday that it was different. Why is it this way? Akasema those were just day ya kukaribisha watu. Yani PR. The PR, but now this is real hell. Okay. And I think Kenyans can learn from that story. Kenyans were told, we were told what to come. In other words, the evangelists had told us how hell looked like. We were told about Ruto and what he is all about. And but then some of us, many of us, chose to believe him and tukaamini kwamba huyu anatupeleka wapi? Anatupeleka mbinguni, sio hell. But now we know exactly what hells look like. And so we know exactly whom to believe and not to believe. In my mind, this is a very tough time, even to make a decision, really, because clearly Gachagua, we know him. We know he's a protege of Ruto, ni moja wa huko, lakini wakati huu anatumika for the sake of making sure that we stay delusional. Hivyo ndivyo hawa jamaa wanafanya. Wanajua kabisa kwamba, first of all, the authority that these people are using to tell us what is right and wrong, I don't know which constitution they're using. Because if they're using the right constitution, then Ruto and Gachagua should go. But here they put it in a situation where you are forced to side with one over the other, not realizing that actually we are playing in their hands when actually what we are supporting is like we are supporting the Constitution to crucify Gachagua or Ruto, but actually what they are using Ruto and Gachagua and the group is not the Constitution. What the system is using is not the Constitution. So it's like we are defending something we don't even know. So there is so much confusion. And so we end up being very delusional. For example, when I started, when Adani, let's talk about Adani. From day one, I said Adani is not the issue. Adani is a businessman. He wants to do business. Adani has never been the issue. The issue is how Wakenya wenzetu ambao natupeleka hell, even if it wasn't Adani, anybody coming would be a suspect. Even if you bring the best company possible to work with these guys, they're still going to be corrupt. So the issue here is for us, Wakenya, to focus where the focus is. It's not Adani, it is Ruto and UDA administration. They gotta go. All these are side shows, and we are playing into their, their dancing hall instead of us looking at where the problem is. It's not even Baba. Baba actually is not even. Is simply saying Adani is a business person. And you look at the profile of Adani, any business in the world, you'll find they have got issues here and there. So Kenyans is about our constitution. That's what we are supposed to defend. And if we defend it, then Adanis and others will not have any effect on us. And many other organizations. I've been looking at the airport. All of them in Africa built by somebody outside of the country. But the question is, did we follow the process here? So let us not play politics with our lives, because when you look deeply, and you see some of the people are talking, whether it is Raila group, and Kalonzo group and other, whatever, the players out there, there's so much politics. Let us retreat a little bit, fall back a little bit, like quarterback in American football, and look at the field, have a bigger vision, and look at what's going on here. At the heart of it all is the Constitution. And here is where the church that we're talking about has messed us up when you guys talk about the truth. Because if we are not preaching the Bible, then what are we preaching? Okay? What are we preaching? If the Bible is not what we're preaching, it's the same as the country without a constitution. Practically, that's where we are to pale. Hakuna constitution, manake inatumika kama to support certain ideas only. When you want to look at the whole book, you're not allowed to. The dark ages in the church, sikilizeni. The dark ages was a time when the Bible was removed from the people. You are not allowed to know it, to read it. It was in Latin. I mean, it was used, Latin language was the language, but the Bible was in Greek and Hebrew, and you are not allowed to know that language, because if you know, you will know the truth. And that's why Martin Luther, because he was a priest, he had the privilege of learning the languages of the Bible, Hebrew and Greek and Hebrew. Afterwards, he read the book of Romans, the just, and Habakkuk, just shall live by faith. He realized that something was wrong. The truth is the one that will set us free. And so if you're not talking about the Constitution, if it's applied unevenly, it is working for this person but not that person, then what are we fighting for? What are we all about? So at the end of the day, it is really the Constitution and the Bible. The church, we left the Bible behind, so we are going to dark ages. Politicians, we don't want the Constitution, so we got into politics. And so we are taking people through rigmarole, which actually is yielding nothing, zero. This is what is wrong with our nation. All of us probably need John the Baptist. We all need to be baptized. We need something new. All of us. We are cowards, number one. We are like people who believe anything, just like that man who went to heaven, who goes to hell for a day, and they think hell, that's going to be that's the life in hell, when actually over the years he has known hell is bad. Kenyans, we know what is bad, but we choose to go in that bad place, that direction. We knew Ruto. We knew exactly. It's not somebody we don't know. And we didn't know. And now this is going on. All of a sudden now, Baba is bad. He's doing A, B, C, D. When actually we are the one who gave power to these guys. And when we are given a chance to get rid of him, we don't. We go on the street. So many of us don't. We're talking about our business being spoiled. So let us be honest. Let's avoid this hypocrisy that is taking us nowhere. And some of us talk big. We know how to get on the phone and talk and all, but when it comes to being on the ground, they are not there. It is those young men and women who are dying for us. And so we are hypocrites. So that's my point here. So let us face the truth. And that is, we are cowards and we don't care about the Constitution, and we have been sold to money. So we are cheap, very, very cheap. That's the problem. Back to you, Bernard.
Okay, thank you, Reverend Lala. We appreciate that. KK, I don't know what is your problem with the Bible or with the Christian faith. On this channel, we don't in any way advocate for running down of any faith. On this channel, we have people who subscribe to the Muslim faith. You have those who subscribe to the wherever Seventh-day Adventist. We have those who are Pentecostals. We have those who are Catholics. And I do all my best to see to it that we don't start a religious war on this platform specifically and deliberately. No, the Africans had multiple gods who they worshipped in their traditional way. That was the light they had then, and they walked in that light, just like you walk in the understanding you have until you acquire a better understanding. You cannot insist on holding on your previous understanding when there is a better way to go about your worship. So if you have resorted to go back to the African way, join Gachagua at the mountain and do the calling on the mountain, but don't discredit people's faith and tell them that your head tells you what is wrong and what is right, and you don't need a book. You're even writing saying that by writing. You're even writing it in English. Okay, what I simply mean is that writing is a book, okay? And there is a reference. There is where you learn how to write and judge what is right and wrong. So the book, the Bible is not just a book. The Bible is a standard. It's like the tape measure, okay? A centimeter is a centimeter, whether you use a black tape measure, a yellow tape measure, a blue tape measure, a centimeter has to be a centimeter, and then you get your measurements. So you're free to use whatever you want to use as your means of measurement, but don't attack people's faith and don't discredit people's belief system. If you don't know, you no longer believe in the Bible, it's for you. It's your choice. We won't force you to. But us who subscribe to the Bible and know what the Bible is and what it means, we will do what the Bible says. And if that makes us foolish, you don't know the kind of wisdom that's wrapped up in that Bible. Some of us wouldn't be anywhere near here if it were not for that Bible. So tuache hiyo story tafadhali. Na naomba hivi, sitaki kuchanganya mambo mingi. Kwangu mimi ukweli wa mambo ni tufuate haki mahali haki inapatikana. Hii story ya kujump from one thing to another, and especially kuna watu hapa kwa hii channel who want to distract us from what we are supposed to do, and they are doing that deliberately. They love gossip. They love some revelation here. I have had a gossip here. We are not a gossip channel, I keep telling you. We are a factual channel. We want something that is sound, authentic, credible, and time-tested. Not this little fictional, sensational talks that you click on it, get a lot of nothing in it, and you are finished clicking. That's why we don't even have those views that those people have, because we are not sensational. So tuache na history ya kuwa sensational, and then to drag people into what is not here or there. Naomba kusonga mbele. Namuona nani? Our friend Daniel is here. Wangira, we left when we were talking about the IEBC and the deputy governors being put in office. Did you confirm the Kissi governor is fully in office, or I understand there was a court order or something like that? What is happening with the Kissi deputy governor?
Bernard, just give me 2 minutes. I'll be brief because I know my brother is there. He also wants to contribute. Just give me 2 minutes. I just want to make a clarification. Then I want to respond to the clip you played. I'll do it in 2 minutes precise. And my brother will come in. First, let me make a correction on something. And I think, Eric was right. That immediately when the deputy president is impeached, the president nominates his replacement within the 14 days. Then Parliament does approval within 60 days. So the nomination is done by the president within 14 days. The approval is done by Parliament within 60 days. So that is the true position of the matter. Secondly, on whether Kissi has a deputy governor, it is public knowledge that Kissi has a deputy governor. That deputy governor was sworn in and is today deputizing, Governor Simba Arati. That is public knowledge. Finally, I just want to be very, very brief. On the clip you played of that gentleman, I'm just forgetting his name, but I know him. He's a board member of the Kenya Power and Lighting Company. He was in the William Samoei Ruto campaign team. If you remember him, I know he's a doctor of law. It started by rubbishing that, regarding Gachagua does not have any chance in court. Then when he was pushed to the corner, he said that, there are slim chances. Bernard, the reason why people go to court is for those slim chances, because those slim chances, Bernard, can give you a way out. As slim as they are, they can give you a way out. And again, when you look at the reasons why a deputy president has to be impeached, there are 3 reasons why we can impeach a deputy president. It's either gross violation of the Constitution, there is a belief that he has committed a national or international crime, or gross misconduct. So, anything that falls out of the 3, Bernard, cannot be a ground for impeaching of the deputy president. And again, an impeachment, Bernard, is what I call a political death sentence. And this is what I mean by a political death sentence. When you are impeached, then you cannot run for political office for the rest of your life. Look at what is happening to Mike Sonko. Look at what is happening to former Governor Waititu. They have been handed a political life sentence which means, they will never run for any political office in the Republic of Kenya. And, that is the essence of courts coming in to audit whether the process of impeachment, Bernard, was carried out in accordance with the law. So, the courts, Bernard, have a big role to play as far as auditing the process is concerned. That's my understanding. So, you cannot, wish away the role of the court in this particular process, because the court has a big role, Bernard, to play. And there are many, many people who have been vindicated by the court, Bernard, several governors who have been vindicated by the court even after they were impeached. I've given you the case of the former Wajir governor, who even had a replacement that was sworn in to take in his seat. But when the Supreme Court had his matter, Bernard, he was reinstated and he became the governor of Wajir. We have the famous case of Wambura, the former governor of Embu, Bernard. So, we have examples to quote. So, as much as, the chances for regarding Gachagua in court could look slim, Bernard, but there are still chances, Bernard, and you never know, they could still work to his advantage. They could still work to his advantage, I hope that I've utilized my 2 minutes well, and we can now allow my brother to come in. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Angira. I believe in those slim chances. Using the Kericho governor, he got off the hook because of 0.3. 0.33%. The people who voted, the 2/3, it was supposed to be 32. They managed to get 31.33. So that 0.33 is what saved him. But all in all, let's see how it all plays out. And of course, at times our court also disappoints. Don't forget the presidential petition when everything is ravished and you're told it's hot air, and you wonder what happened. But all in all, let's look for justice. Justice for all is all we seek, and we want that for everyone. At the end of the day, it is when justice is served that we create a right precedence for others to build on, and we secure the future. But when justice is compromised in any way, in any process, we create a wrong presidency that now forms a multiplication of the wrongs. And that's one of the things that we have done in Kenya that has led us where we are. Somebody steals an election, we justify it, we provide the army to protect him, we provide the police to protect him, and it becomes now legal to steal an election and declare yourself a president. And so until that is, uncompromisedly corrected, we can't move from where we are. Asante sana. So naomba tusonge mbele. Let's have a greeting to our friend Daniel. How are you today?
Hello, my friends. Good morning.
Yes, good morning from Nairobi, Kenya.
Yes. Thank you. I West Papua.
Yes, what's happening in Papua?
Now find problem Indonesian and West Papuan, but political Kenya implementation got me looking from international about president implementation and collective now, because about problem with Papua and Indonesian and now democracy. Now democracy is in a process democracy and dialogue activists West Papua and government Indonesian.
Okay.
But
take over.
Daniel,
Hello.
first of all, greetings to you. I've always been impressed with Papua New Guinea, which is independent, and you, West Papua, under Indonesia. I know you are struggling to be autonomous in Indonesia as a province. Indonesia and Papua, you know, kind of log ahead a little bit. I know you are close to Australia, but the history of the Christian church in Papua, Maui people and Wegi people, I don't know you, but it's very inspirational. And so we are here to support you guys because you're struggling for that human right, which we are all struggling for, okay? So that all of us can be countries that have made it out of colonial system that keeps our people oppressed. And our human rights, the human rights are looking very good, especially when foreigners come in. And so we must learn to take care of our people, be able to have democratic principles that govern our people, especially the people of Papua. Because I know the country was big, but Indonesia took one part. And so I know you guys are trying to fight for your right, human rights in Papua, and we are behind you, supporting you guys. And we thank you that you are here. And I would suggest all of us to read a little bit more about Papua, you know, West Papua and Papua New Guinea together as a people and their history, which is very rich African, you know, heritage in that part of the world. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for the now process problem. Melanesia, Indonesia problem, human rights, West Papua democracy, and Australia, Penge and West Papua, group Melanesia bladder.
Polynesia,
Yes, Polynesia. Polynesia and Melanesia, Pacific Melanesia, and process problem Melanesia, Indonesia now. Human rights with Papua democracy, and tomorrow and president, elect president and speaking.
Yes.
Dialon activists Papua and Indonesia. Now
So
process.
They're talking. Okay, good.
Yes.
Yeah, we
Thank
keep
you.
on fighting, keep on standing for our people. I like to look at a documentary from your country, and my hope is that one of these days I will travel to your country. I'd like to come to West Papua and visit you.
Okay, thank you.
I've never been to Indonesia or Papua, but I've been around, but not there. But I'm coming one of these days. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you,
Thank you.
thank you, Daniel, for always being here, and we appreciate your company. We will engage as we continue to talk, and we wish you the very best, even as you push for the freedom and the human rights in your place. Thank you so much. Na nihabili hapa nasema haelewi kile kinachosemwa. Patience now. forbearance is one of the fruit of the spirit. But he's simply saying the political situation where they are, there is what is called marginalization and segregation. Ni kama wame, I think there's been an invasion or taken over by Indonesia and what, Reverend Lala, please clarify.
You know, in this part of the island has been taken, annexed by Indonesia. Where he is under domination by Indonesia. So they have been trying to become independent. Papua New Guinea is independent, but that part, Indonesia took it over. So he's within Indonesian government. So they are second-class citizens there. They're fighting for their right as Papuan, as West Papua. Yeah. Am I correct? Is that correct? Daniel, I'm okay. I'm good. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Lala, for the clarification. And I think we will want it to rest there as we proceed with the conversation. Mabibi na mabwana, naomba tafadhali tumakinike tunapoendelea na mjadala. Dakika zimekatika 25 baada ya saa 7 usiku masaa ya Afrika Mashariki. Ikifika saa ngapi? Saa 8 nitakuwa nafungasha. Kwa hivyo nataka tujitahidi kutumia muda ulioko ipasavyo. Reverend Lala, just hold on. Tukileta nani, we are coming there. I just want to clear this.
Information here. It's 1963. The land was taken from Papua, given to Indonesia. 1963.
Oh.
That's when
so
Daniel was transferred to Indonesia. They took it over. Yeah.
Okay. So is it, could we say, is it like the scenario we have with Mombasa?
Yeah, but this is worse because it's like Mombasa, but Papua was one country, but Indonesia is more powerful, so it's able to annex the West Papua where Daniel lives. So Daniel is a province of Indonesia.
Yes, the reason I'm saying Mombasa is in the history of it. Unakumbuka ile story of
that is very close, but you see, Mombasa
they were part of Zanzibar, and then at the colonial they were cut off Zanzibar and made part of Kenya. Were at whatever an agreement and exchange of whatever that happened.
This is like annex Kisumu going into Uganda, take it over. They were actually taken over by Indonesia.
Okay, it's an invasion. It's an official.
Oh, yeah. Yes, invasion. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's. Mm-hmm. That's a long time. Yeah. Well, let's get this video out of the way and then tumlete msimamo, na kama mnaingia studio tafadhali why ili tukamalize mjadala wa leo, tujiandae na kesho.
In other news, former Kissi County Public Service Board Chairman Elijah Obeba was today sworn in as the third Deputy Governor of Kissi County. The swearing-in of Obeba, which took place at the Gusii Stadium, has put to an end 5 months of court battles over the position. Obeba replaces Dr. Robert Monda, who was impeached after being found guilty by the Senate for misusing his office and abating corruption for personal gains. The newly appointed DG vowed to adhere to the law and that he's ready to work with Governor Simbarati to foster growth and development of the county.
I wish to say, ladies and gentlemen, it is with great humility, a sense of responsibility and a determination to selflessly serve that I accept appointment as the Deputy Governor, Kissi County. I reiterate my commitment, dedication and goodwill to deliver on your manifesto and vision for a great Kissi County. My elder brother Elijah, you are retired from the civil service. Here you are serving as a deputy governor. there are only two important things. Say no to corruption, be faithful to the cause. That's my humble request. Now that you have been the chairman, you were the chairman of the service board, and indeed I've not received any claim of you to have solicited even a penny. Of you to have solicited even a penny.
Okay, mambo ni kama hayo. That's the video Ayaga was asking for. I think that settles that case. The Kissi governor was sworn in, and after they had won the court battle. So there is no court case against the guy. He's already in office and serving in full capacity. And so the same way the deputy Kissi governor was replaced after being impeached, that is the same way Gachagua should be replaced when he gets impeached. That is, if he gets impeached. The issue of IEBC, checking of names and all that is a mixture of a jungle of things that I think are not requirements by the Constitution. And that is what I've been holding as my understanding. So this other twist of IEBC is for elections and boundaries. So if there's no elections, IEBC is unnecessary. To the best of my understanding. I am Simamo.
Ni vyema kabisa kakangu Bernard kusafisha hewa, maana haka kautata kalikuwa kanagonga huku kutamu mkasi yuni shike kuliko sasa. Maana nikiangalia kweli mtazamo ulioletwa na kaka yule ABC naingiliana kwa kweli alikuwa, lakini Wangira naye akaingilia kati. Lakini kwa sababu umekijaza clip sasa tumejua ukweli wa mambo kwamba Gachagua yeye kama ataweza kuondolewa, basi ABC hizi tumika pale kuweza kumtetea, na kama ilivyo wakufa siku zote hafichi uchi. Wakufa ni vigumu zaidi kuficha uchi, labda yeye mzima ndio aweze kumfunika, lakini hajui habari zinazoendelea. So Gachagua ni wakufa hafichi uchi, yani hili lipo lishapangwa, lilipangika, na cha msingi wacha tuone tu, tungojee matokeo. Lingine la kujazia hapa leo ni hii sauti ilo nikujia haswa, na mimi sometimes hiyo inakaaje, labda nitabidi niangalie sasa Biblia vizuri, kwa sababu at least nivae viatu vya Bernard kama nitaviweza nikitakapoajaliwa. Maana sometimes nasikia kuna hii roho imeniingilia leo, na nimesik zaidi kwa swala zima la dini haswa na viongozi na haswa na hali tulionayo katika taifa letu. So for real Bernard, utanisamehe kwa kuingilia hapo, lakini nadhani ni mchango mkubwa kuweza kubadilisha tafsiri ya taifa letu. Bernard, tukitazama uongozi ambazo zimekaa hapo, ambayo ipo zenye zimekuwepo ni nyingi, yani kumekuwa na hayo mambo kwamba machafu yanafunikwa, viongozi wa dini hawajitokezi. Yani mauaji hayaanzi tu regime ya Ruto, yameanza awali. Viongozi wakijaribu kuja na kweli inazimwa, alafu tukapewa huu msemo wa let's accept and move on. Huu msemo haumaanishi tu wakati wa kura peke yake, but haswa kwa machafu kama haya. Mtu anauawa kiajabu ama anakufa pasipo kuelezwa vizuri, mara kesi kwa mahakamani, mwisho wa siku naambiwa let's accept and move on, maana Mungu kapenda mja wake, na akishapenda basi mwanadamu si lolote, tunaachia pale. Viongozi hawezi ingilia pale kuweza kuzungumza kweli na kuweza kuzungumza haswa hii ilikuwa naizungumzia dhambi kikamilifu. So for real nafikiri ni wakati pia sasa hivi viongozi wa dini wajiepushe zaidi, ili kuepusha ghadhabu ya Mungu katika taifa letu, kwa sababu kama tunashuhudia haya yanayoendelea hivi, lakini tumefumbwa macho wa Kenya ni wenye kushangaa kila siku na jipya. Hili jambo huwa linaniumiza mimi Bernard. La Gachagua limezima mengi ambayo alikuwa yako nyuma hapo, alikuwa ameshaanza kufumka. Tulipobwagiwa la Gachagua, Wakenya wote tumtazamo wetu kwa Gachagua. Gachagua aende asiende, lakini yeye si alikuwepo miongoni mwa hii serikali, na kama haitutendea haki, hata yeye ni mmoja wao. Kwa hivyo huu ni msalaba wake, ataubeba wenyewe kwa wakati wake, maana yeye alihukumu kabla ya Mungu kwamba mimi nimeweka mitego kila mahali, huyu bwana hatakuja. Sasa ni kuonyeshana makali tu wao kwa wao, wanasiasa kwa wanasiasa. Ili lilosema halifanyiki limefanyika, lakini halituhusu sisi kama Wakenya, kwa sababu mwisho wa siku kutateuliwa tena makamu ama deputy wa rais, na kama hali ni sawia na hii kwamba hana mbavu na kijaribu kuzungumza hafai, basi pia tutampeach na mwingine na mwingine na mwingine. Mwisho wa siku tutajipata kwamba huyu bwana amerule kwa miaka anayohitaji ama kwa muda anaojisikia yeye. Kwa hivyo shida yetu bado Wakenya itakuwa iko pale pale. So cha msingi ni kumgeukia Mungu kwanza, at least tupate ile hofu ya Mungu, angalau Mungu na atugeuzie mkono, atatunyanyulia watu watakosimama na Wakenya kikamilifu na tuwaunge mkono. Vinginevyo kama tutaanza kuangalia hii hali tulienda nayo na tumegawanywa katika hiyo misingi ya dini na ukabila, ndio uko pale sasa. Mimi nikichaguliwa makamu wa rais, na tangia awali katika jamii yangu ulikuwa hatuna makamu wa rais katika hili taifa, nitanyamaza kwa sababu mwanasiasa tambia nyamaza, umepewa makamu wa rais. So utakuta hali ya kwamba twendeni inakuwa ni kidogo wenye wanaenda, kwa sababu tayari wengine wana benefit kutoka kwa hapo. So kimtazamo wangu mimi ni kwamba viongozi wa dini wasimame kumalizana huu tata, kwa sababu vita viliopo ni vita baina ya wanasiasa na Wakenya. Hapa tukubaliane, kwa sababu wenye kuyafanya haya yote siyo ni Adani, siyo ni JKA, siyo ni wao. Na wale wanagombana sasa hivi, kesho ndio hao wameshikana tena. Wale ambao walisutana wakati ndio hao wanashikana tena. Na sisi wa Kenya tukiachwa katika misingi ya dini pamoja na ukabila ambao ametufika mahali tupo. Kwa hiyo umefika wakati tumgeukie Mungu tena kikamilifu na tutubu haswa, wakianzia haswa hao viongozi wenyewe wa dini. At least Mungu ataweza kutuonea imani, angalau mkono wake tena utugeukie, tupate kunyanyuliwa viongozi ambao wataanzisha hili taifa upya, watasafisha huu chafu tunauona wote. Kwa sababu kama ni bunge halina sauti na halitakuwa na sauti, kila ilivyo kama halina sauti, hata mahakama haitakuwa na sauti. Kwa haya tunachezeshwa hapa wote ni pata potea. Tulishashuhudia haya wakati wa kule iliyopita, judgment ilifanyika, lakini mwisho wa siku ilikuwa ni hot air. Sasa tunashangazwa na lipi? So tuache kufukuza yaleo kwenye miti, tutazame haya yaleoko shambani kwanza, kisha baadaye ndo tufukuza kwenye miti. Mimi nitaachia pale. Asante kakangu Bernard.
Okay, asante msimamo, tunashukuru kwa hayo. Tunakumbushwa hapa kwamba kutimuliwa kwa Gachagua ni mwanzo tu, tusikwamie hapo. Tukishamaliza kutoa makanga, tutafute dereva, alafu mambo yasonge mbele. So the clearing of the bad leadership should not end with the impeachment of Gachagua, and the impeachment of Gachagua should be used as a catalyst, as a presidency that it can be done. And if Kenyans take their part in enforcing and ensuring that they want their country free, they will be able to get rid of the bad leadership and replace it with the right leadership. Kwa vyovyote vile. So let's take advantage of that. Habili is suggesting we have a talk on Papua weekly. We'll try to do that, but we'll need to get Omolo ndio anaelewa lugha ya Daniel, anaweza kufafanulia na pia kuhost hiyo show ndio atueleweshwe vizuri. But we intend to, we will be fully involved, of course. We can't close our eyes when our brothers are in need of our experiences and our know-how in even leading a successful struggle, being dominated by another country from 1963. That is a long time. And so it's terrible. Now, naomba hivi tunasonga mbele na mjadala. Naomba tu nijaribu kumalizia hizi videos na tukisonganga mbele katika mambo haya. Let's look at this bench.
In Grace Nganga, SCTNEWS, Nairobi.
Thank you very much, Grace Nganga. Meanwhile, Justices Eric Ogola, Freda Mugambi, and Anthony Murima have been tasked with consolidating, hearing, and determining the petitions filed by Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua against his impeachment motion set to be heard in the Senate beginning this Wednesday. The empanelment comes after Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua exuded confidence in the judiciary's ability to uphold the will of the people. And as Ashley Mazuri now reports, the third arm has exercised restraint in this matter, declining several times to not interfere, or rather declining several times to interfere in the political process.
A bench of 3 judges will now hear close to 30 petitions filed by the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. They are Justice Eric Ogola, Lady Justice Freda Mugambi, and Justice Anthony Murima. This move follows a ruling made by Justice Lawrence Mugambi, who on Friday last week referred the matter to the Chief Justice, since the case had raised serious constitutional questions significant enough to warrant a multi-judge bench. The empanelment comes barely days after embattled Deputy President Gachagua pinned his faith on the judiciary to fairly prosecute his impeachment motion, reiterating the will of the people is sovereign.
Our judiciary is very professional, and I have no doubt in my mind that our eminent judges will protect and uphold the Constitution.
There has, however, been an argument between legal minds on what the Constitution says about impeaching a deputy president. Some lawyers argue that the Parliament is vested with the responsibility of oversight over the executive and the conduct of its officers. Therefore, impeachment as envisaged by the drafters of the Constitution is a quasi-judicial political process, not a judicial process.
And so the Constitution, forward-looking, imagined a space for maybe revisiting and for politics, and therefore raised the threshold. And so it is within the arm they are exercising the power of the people.
Despite the numerous cases filed by the Deputy President's camp seeking to halt the impeachment, the courts seem reluctant in interfering with the process due to the doctrine of separation of powers between the 3 arms of government. The independence of the legislative arm of the government is anchored in the Constitution. Not even the courts can stop it from doing its work.
Katiba imewapea wabunge nafasi ya kumng'atua mtu yeyote mamlakani asipofanya yale mambo yanagusia mambo ya wananchi.
However, the courts can come in at the tail end of the process to review the process involved and determine if it played by the book. Then there is the philosophy of restraint, which also dictates that the courts should avoid deciding cases that would overturn the actions of other branches. Impeachments are political processes given a legal backing and are meant to address serious misconduct by high-ranking public officials, including presidents, their deputies, and in federal states, federal offices. It is a political safeguard rather than a legal mechanism. If the deputy president is impeached, then the courts might offer recourse depending on the prayers. Ashley Mazuri, SCTNEWS.
Right, meanwhile, the National Assembly has submitted dozens.
Okay, there you go. The drip bench, whatever. The bench has been set, and so the consolidation of all the cases filed by Gachagua will be looked at, and we hope there will be a favorable verdict. But from the explanation there too, the processes of the Senate will go on without interference. unless otherwise. But let's wait and see as factors play. Namuona nani? Jakindu Bay, vipi uko barabarani nini?
Niko barabarani Bernard, lakini naweza nikazungumza. Manake nimekuwa nikiwa wasikiliza. Unajua hiyo impeachment ya Gachagua, that is political, lakini sioni kwa nini Gachagua anaenda kotini. Hiyo ni kusema mimi, in my point of view, tayari ni mwalifu, ni corruption hiyo ambayo Gachagua alikuwa nayo. The same court ilikuwa imesema Gachagua is corrupt, ambapo kama tungekuwa tunafuata sheria, tungekuwa tunafuata political kama zile tunaiga kama Amerika, Gachagua na Ruto hawawezi kusimama kuchaguliwa kokote Amerika. Hawawezi hata kukaribia. They cannot. Na tena hii mambo ya kusema eti ukionekana una uchafu, unaambiwa una uchafu, na hakuna koti mahali unaenda. Ukishaambiwa uko na uchafu, kaa kando. Kuna watu wengi Amerika hawawezi kusimama kwa sababu ya uchafu zile walifanya. Hata akijaribu anaangushwa. Hata Uingereza anaangushwa. Akijaribu tu kutaka kusimama, hajapelekwa kotini, hata hajafungwa kwamba amepatikana na uhalifu, lakini sifa za mtu zina kufanya uwezi kuenda kwa ofisi kama hiyo, the high office kama hiyo. Huwezi kwenda. Unaweza kufanya kazi zingine, unaweza kuwa manager, unaweza kuwa director, lakini huwezi kuwa kwa political hiyo hierarchy. Hii kitu wa Kenya sisi hatujui, na ndio maana hii mambo ya kuiga, tunaiga vitu, we are trying to copy things that we cannot, vitu ambazo hatuwezi kufuata. Saa hii nasikia watu wanasema aende kotini. Hii political thing aiende kotini. Koti hata haitaki kusikiliza hizo. Haifai. Koti haitaki kusikiliza hizo. Koti ikisikiliza, koti hii iliruhusu Ruto na Uhuru ambao ni wahalifu. Unajua koti inaweza kumwachia hata muuaji kama hamna evidence, na huyo mtu ameua, hakuna evidence, eti kama wakifuta hizo evidence koti itakuachilia. Lakini political, kuna watu wanajua mtu fulani amefanya kitu fulani, kwa hiyo hawawezi kukuchagua. Mtu kama Philip Baraza, huyo ndio mtu anatakiwa aende pelekwe kotini kwa sababu ana uhalifu wa kuua mtu. Lakini hizo hawataki kupeleka koti. Hii kama ya Gachagua haifai kwenda kotini kwa sababu tayari ameshakosa, parliament imempata na hatia. Na yeye kweli ana hatia kwa sababu yeye kwanza, number one, hajui kama yeye ni vice president. Anafikiria yeye anawakilisha Central Province. Hana constituency yoyote. Yeye na president hawana constituency. So hawezi kusema saa zote anawasimamia watu wa Central Province. That is totally hafai hata kuwa vice president. Hafai kwa maoni yangu, hafai. Ni makosa sana Wakenya walimchagua mtu kama huyo. Kwa hiyo kama anakuwa impeached, mimi sioni kwa nini watu tunataka kuleta sympathy. Sympathy gani? Hizi mambo ya sympathy ndio maana tunachagua watu hata wezi. Eti ni sympathy. Watana na sympathy. Aende. Alafu tubaki na Ruto naye aende. Hii mambo ya kusympathize, tunamsympathize naye namna gani? What for? Alafu tukisha sympathize naye atafanya nini? He's not fit. Si mtu anatakiwa kuongoza hii ndio maana nasema sisi ni wavivu. Ile vitu tunatakiwa tufanye tuamue, hatuamui vitu, tunaamua kwa kuangalia hati mtu wetu. Kama sasa nilisikia Bernard, mimi nakupongeza sana. Simamia hii channel kwa kusema ukweli bila uvumi. Niliona channel nyingine inazungumza juu ya uvumi na takataka nywendo, yani anasema vitu za uongo. Hata unaona tu huyu mtu anaojiwa, it's lying. Anasema vitu yani hearsay. Yeah? Zile vitu ambavyo hata hakuna mtu yani hana facts, anasema tu, na yeye ni kasisi. Yeah? Ni pastor. Anahojiwa. Anazungumza, anasema vile Wakikuyu wanataka kuwa sideline. Hii ni mambo gani huyo mtu kama huyo? Ati ni pastor. Anasema Wakikuyu wanataka kuwekwa sideline, hawatakikani kuwa kwa uongozi. What do you mean? Wakikuyu wamekuwa president wangapi? Waache hii upuzi. Watu lazima tuambiane ukweli. Let's not tusianze kudanganyana. Hii hatuwezi kuwa ati tunachagua uongozi kutoka sehemu moja tu. Uongozi lazima itembee nchi nzima. Wote tumesoma. Wote kwa Kenya wamesoma. So hii ndio maana ndio maana inaleta wale watu ambao ni corrupt. Kwa sababu ya hiyo. Kwa sababu hiyo ndio maana tulichagua Uhuru na Ruto, na yet ni watu ambao hawakuwa na sifa safi. Hata sasa wana sifa nzuri, hata serikali zao hazina sifa nzuri. Yeah? So Wakenya, tuwacheni upuzi wa kuchagua watu ambao hawafai. Alafu tunakuwa na sympathy wakati wanapatikana na wamefanya makosa. Tuache hiyo upuzi. Asante sana Bernard.
Thank you, Jakintube. That's clear enough. And being vigilant is important, even as we focus on salvaging the country. The Gachagua case is what? It's clouded with so many tentacles that we will just wait for all those cases to be put together. Let's hear what the three judges will say, and then of course what the High Court will say. That is is it in the afternoon or in the morning of Tuesday, which is today? And then we wait for Wednesday as the impeachment process begin in the Senate. Ile ilikuwa ya Kericho imeisha hivyo mpaka sasa. I think, is there a period required, Mr. Wangira? If the case is brought to the Senate, then it gets defeated on technicality. MCAs wa Kericho wanapaswa kukaa muda gani kabla wamrudishe governor?
Now, they can bring in another impeachment within 6 months, but I doubt whether they can bring, the same ground, because, we have that doctrine of double jeopardy, where, you cannot disadvantage somebody twice. So, when these grounds are done with, they have been done with. So if they have to impeach him, they have to impeach him on new grounds, I believe.
No. Mwangaza has been tried 3 times on the same things.
No, they were not. They were not same grounds, Bernard. They could have factored a common scenario, but they were not same grounds. Even in a court of law, Bernard, if you are tried of murdering me and you are acquitted, you cannot be again arrested and be tried for murdering me when you have been acquitted. That is the doctrine of double jeopardy. You don't disadvantage somebody twice.
Okay, sawa. Thank you very much for the clarification. Tunarudi kwa msimamo tunapoanza kufungasha. we are on the tail end, unless I have my night school to come and take over. Kwangu mimi nimemaliza, and not...
Niulize swali
yes,
Bernard.
yes, Jakindube.
Nauliza Mr. Wangila, yeye anaishi Amerika. Sisi tumeiga hii system ya Amerika. Watu kama hii kesi ingekuwa ni Amerika, huyu angekuwa ameresign ama angeenda kotini?
Jakindu Bay, mimi siishi Amerika.
Oh, nani anaishi
Nairobi? Naishi Nairobi, Kenya.
Okay.
Lakini kwa swali lako,
Alan ndio yuko Amerika.
Wacha nijaribu kukujibu swali lako. Let me try and answer it in English. You know, this is what I call political hygiene. You know, in advanced democracy where people believe in their democratic, you know, philosophies, Bernard, when you are impeached, then you are impeached. For example, when Richard Nixon was impeached, or Bernard, he was impeached and he left office. That was the political hygiene of the United States, that when you are impeached, you are impeached. But, you know, let me just take this opportunity to further my argument, then I'll just make it my closing remark. But the problem we have in the Republic of Kenya is what I call, you know, poor political hygiene. And you know what I call poor political hygiene? The poor political hygiene is where people come into leadership with vested interests. For example, Rigathi Gachagua did not come to public service, you know, to serve the people of Kenya. He came to public service because of his vested interest. And it's the same thing with, you know, William Samoei Ruto. And that's the reason why they are clashing. And Bernard, this is a very, very sad scenario. Because if we are not very, very careful, Bernard, it could lead to the instability of the nation. Let me just give you an example of Congo DRC in 1960. You know, Congo DRC, when it got its independence in June 1960, there was, you know, Joseph Kasavumbu as president and Patrice Lumumba as prime minister. Do you know what happened? Because of vested interest, you know, Patrice Lumumba was pro-people and, you know, Kasavumbu was the puppet of the West. So because of those, you know, pull and push, you know, and because everybody had his numbers, Bernard, you know, Kasavumbu decided to fire Patrice Lumumba. Do you know what Patrice Lumumba did? Patrice Lumumba went to parliament and marshaled his numbers. And those numbers fired Kasavumbu. Imagine, you know, president firing a prime minister and then prime minister marshalling numbers to fire the president. You know, I'm seeing a similar scenario if we continue with this bad political manners in this country. Because, you know, now, you know, the future deputy president of the Republic of Kenya will ensure that he has troops. Because, you know, if you are troopless like Gachagua, then you are done. So they will ensure that they have their troops. So what happens in a scenario where a deputy president has troops and the president has troops? What happens with this political bad manners that we are seeing in the Republic of Kenya? So we need to work around our political manners, Bernard. Because if we don't work around our political matters, Bernard, then it could be a cause of instability in this country. And I remember there was something by NCIC, Bernard. They commented about regarding Gachagua and what could be the consequences of his impeachment, Bernard. I hope you can look for it and perhaps you play tomorrow. So, you know, we need to, you know, to ensure that our political manners, Bernard, are up to date. You know, we have what we call good political hygiene. Without good political hygiene, Bernard, you know, we could end up into instability because of such a thing, Bernard. You know, let that be my closing remark because I've taken more than 2 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wangila. I think that's clear enough. So hapa watu they don't resign. Even when they get impeached, they don't accept until they go and fight in the courts. I mean, the question that Mato is asking, what is this in public service that people are dying, fighting, killing just to stay in office? What is this that is so, you know, valuable in public service that somebody will go to any length to stay in a public office, which is meant for everybody.
Ndio maana nasema to copy things which you don't know is wrong. We should have made our own system such that we can remove people wabaya na vile kuchuja watu, kwa sababu hii system tunatumia ya wazungu, ambayo mtu tu anakuja anasema democracy. Sasa mtu hata kama ameiba anakuja tu anasema ako na chama na ni mwizi na ako na pesa, ameshaiba pesa, anawapatia watu, anakuwa president. This is wrong. Haifai tufanye kama hiyo, na hii ndio Wakenya wameshikilia ati democracy. Democracy ya gani? China iko na one party system, na unafundishwa kuwa kiongozi, na unaona they're leading the world. Hawana hii mambo ya ukiwa corrupt you are out, you are not given hiyo chance ya kuiba pesa ambayo inatumika kwa nchi. So ukipatikana ujue na wewe you are not there, unakuwa unatimuliwa, na hiyo ni sheria wamekubaliana wote. So kila mtu lazima ashike barabara yake. So hii mambo ya sisi tunaiga tu, tunabugia tu, tunasema hiyo system leta democracy na alafu mnasema wasomi wote ni wizi. Kwa nini wanaiba? Hiyo ni kitu moja, lazima tuamke na tutoke kwa hii box ambayo wazungu wametuweka ati democracy, ati tunaletewa vyama vingi. It's rubbish. Sioni maana hizo vyama, sioni hizo vyama zinatufanyia nini. I don't see. Inatakiwa tuwe na viongozi ambao ni watu ambao wana sifa nzuri. Mtu ambaye ana sifa nzuri ni kiongozi mzuri. Hatuwezi na hii mambo ya kuachia tu, tukisha chagua kiongozi hatujui anafanya nini, tunamwacha tu hivyo. Lazima sisi wote tuwe watch, tunawaangalia kila siku. Asante sana Bernard.
Thank you Jack Ndube. Msimamo
Asante. Msimamo kwa heshima naweza kuomba, lakini we sema kwanza, lakini naweza kuomba kwa heshima, niko mahali pabaya.
Mimi ndo nakatikiwa na kufukuzwa hapa.
Okay, sawa. We maliza kwanza. Mimi niko sawa.
Sawa. Langu ni hivi, Gachagua amekuwa kanga mwenye chongo, alifukulia wazima ama walona macho. Bwana Gachagua alikuwa kanga mwenye chongo na akafukulia wazima walona macho. Unajua kwenye mchezo huu wa kucheza ngoma huku kwetu zile za kiasili, kuna ule guji mwenye kucheza wanacheza tu kidogo alafu anaacha, na kuna yule ambaye hajui basi atacheza zaidi. So kila ilivyo hapa, sisi tunafumba mwacho kwa Kenya, lakini wenyewe wanajua sababu ni nini, na Gachagua alikuwa amekuja pale kutengeneza nini, na ndio maana aliachiwa yeye, akaambiwa tu tafuta kingpin wa mlima na mambo mengine utuachie, na akawa anang'ang'ana huko, kisha akajisahau kwamba hajui kucheza. So wenye kucheza ngoma vizuri wamejipanga upya huko, sasa amebaki sasa kulalamika. Huu ni msalaba wake mwenyewe, na mimi siwezi utetea hata siku moja. Either aende asiende, Kenya hii kama sauti itabaki ya mtu mmoja, tumefail. That's the main problem with we Kenyans, with we Kenyan citizen. Hata tuambiwe, hata tuonywe, hata tuongoze, still bado tuko pale pale. We don't agree. Hatutaki kukubali mpaka tufanye kuona. Na ndio maana huku kwetu tunasema mtu anaambiwa anarudi, haambiwi akienda. Maana hata ukimwambia wakati anaenda lazima akalione. So mwacha akalione, akirudi tutakwambia. So Wakenya still bado we have a chance, na imani kwamba nafasi tunayo. Hizi sauti zinazojitokeza na mara zimeenda fungwa hapa, zimepelekwa kule, zimehongwa huku. We are now losing our leaders. Mwisho wa siku tutasema huyu ni msaliti, huyu hatutajua mkweli ni nani, because we don't accord them with full support. We did this to Raila Odinga. Now we are blaming Mr. Raila Odinga. Oh, nini for what? We have been advised and warned by Uhuru Kenyatta. Now tunasema hata hiyo regime yake ilikuwa haifai. So Wakenya lazima tuambiane hapa ukweli. Tucheze pande yetu. Vita hivi ni kati ya sisi Wakenya, maana ni mayatima, that's why tumejipata tuko hapa. Swali la Mato nikimalizia Bernard, kwa nini viongozi wanangangana humo? Unajua mimi sasa hivi nikuchukue gari langu hapa nipite barabara kwenda Mombasa, nitasimamishwa na maaskari si zaidi ya mara 6. Lakini mbunge hapa atapita mpaka kwa mzee, ataanza kuheshimiwa. Kwa hivyo hata kama amebeba mtu akufa hapo ndani, haijalishi, atapita tu. Kwa hali hii ndio maana namjibu Matoko hakusema hivi, power ni tamu. Jamani, uongozi mtamu. Maana huo ndio lomficha bwana Ruto mpaka sasa hivi hatujajua kesi za chuke ule yale mabwawa sio ni Kemarere na wote. Sio hiyo iliendea wapi? Hizo sauti zimezima. Na mengi yanaofungamana na hali kama hiyo. Hakuna mtu anayataja kwa sababu ukitaja umemtaja rais. The same thing applies to Gachagua. Wakati ule wa kesi lilipoondolea alijipiga kifua. So for real, tusichezeshwe mchezo wa pata pute na hawa watu, especially wenye wamekaa katika political class kwa miaka na mikaka. Hawa watu wana vitu ambavyo wamefanya dhidi yetu. Kwa hiyo watakuja kwa hali tofauti tuwaamini, lakini mwisho siku wanarudi drawing board kuweza kukaa ni jinsi gani watakaweza kusurvive katika mamlaka ili waendelee kutimiza yale yao na kuweza kuficha yale waliofanya mwanzo. Bila sasa kufunguka sana kaka, unajua mtu hasifiwi maneno mengi kidogo tu alafu unaachia hapo. Nimeacha mimi.
Asante bwana Msimamo, tunashukuru. Na Mashujaa Day ukitukaribisha tutakuja.
Nini kaka Bernard nimekuambia na ugomvi katika my constituency. Haya yanatengenezwa hapa, yanatengenezwa kwa, lakini hali hii unaiona Msimamo. Hizo walls za hao majamaa haswa wa UDA sifai kaka. Sitakualika maana hapo ngumu mponye eti. Mimi huku shida yangu kubwa ni kuhakikisha mwananchi ameweza kung'amua na kuelewa nini kinaendelea na sifai kwao. Na hiyo ndio jitihada ya Msimamo nilionayo. Asante.
Tutakuja kufanya
sitakualika maana haya Mashujaa Day haya si yetu, tusubiri yetu.
Sawa, asante Daddy, tunashukuru. We thank God for you. Thank you for weighing on the topics today. And naomba tafadhali tu makinike tunapoendelea kutamatisha kipindi chetu. Tafadhali naomba tujitahidi kujifunza mengi mazuri tu. Kuna wale ambao wamevamiwa hapa na Kiswahili wanasema mafumbo mengi. We Alex, we kusoma neno kwa neno. Neno kwa neno ndio kilikuwa kitabu cha shule. Wale walienda shule wakati shule ilikuwa bado shule. Sasa wewe ukahepa neno kwa neno ukaenda kujifunza kisima cha Giningi. Okay, sawa. Mkenya mkora vipi?
Si salama. Lakini namshukuru Msimamo. Leo nimekuja na vita, lakini kwanza acha nimshukuru Msimamo. Wajua huu Msimamo kwanza kuna wakati mwaka iliyopita kama Kiswahili changu tunakimenya. Unajua mimi nimetoka Mombasa nusu. Kuna time yeye alikuwa na Mombasa nusu, nikisema Mombasa nusu ni Machakos kwenda Makueni ukiteremka hivyo. Unajua that's Mombasa nusu. Halfway, you cut it half, unateremka.
Haikufika Mtitoande.
Sasa unajua there's a time, and this is on a serious note, ni kitu serious sana. Wajua kuna time ambao utansamee kakangu Msimamo, a time that ulikuwa unatembea huko ukiwa hata hujavaa viatu, ukituonesha ambavyo maji ilinoga. Nisame Kiswahili changu hata kama cha Mombasa nusu. And we went through that activation na bado tukasaidia watu pale ambapo tungeweza. Unakumbuka msimamo? Na tukasaidia ambao tungeweza saidia. Now, here is my problem, Bernard, and me, I came here to ile comment yangu yenye nimeweka. I came here to actually, and I like that guys are talking about it, because Bernard, it has come to a point in our, and forgive my English kama kuna whatever watu wanaambianga na weng whatever, I don't care. Mimi ni Mkenya na ukitaka kuniongea Kikamba ningu nena Kikamba nacho. Hello, I don't know. Hata bibi ukitaka mbiore mbiamono. Unajua? Sawa. So, no, what I'm trying to say, the point that I'm bringing home, Bernard, is that I'm a Kenyan first before I even live anywhere or go anywhere. I am a Kenyan first. The thing that I've been fighting with, and I'm also a politician kind of in my own rights. The things that I've been fighting with and I've been really asking myself is the question that I just posted for you there. Na ulikuwa unaiogopa Bernard na tutapigana. You know, I know where you live. Tutazunguana mimi na wewe. Nitakukujia. Because
wewe acha vitisho. Sisi tunataka mtu akuje kwenda State House. Kwangu sitaki wageni. Tunataka mtu akutufunga
yako ndio tutakuja kufunga. Yes, State yako ndio tutakuja kufunga. Now, but okay, on a serious note, then here's the thing. People need to start asking themselves. And I want the people in the comment section, the people who are listening to us, I really salute you guys. Asanteni sana for always being here and listening to us, because you get international news and views, not news, views of what other people think, whether they're in Kenya, whether they're in Yugoslavia, we don't care, whether they're Adanis in this guys. Bernard, what is this? And I'm going to ask, nimekwambia nitakuja mimi mwenyewe kujieleza hapa hivi. What is this that is so important to be in public service that you really need to get 20 lawyers? Bernard, have you ever tried to get one lawyer for yourself? Ya kakuku tu, pale ushago. I'm sorry. Just kakuku tu pale ushago. Ama neighbor yako amekuongelesha vibaya. Have you ever tried to get one lawyer? How do you get 20 lawyers to stay in office? I mean, seriously, guys, we need to first of all walk away from this political thing and go back and look at the logical thing and even what the Bible tells us and what the even doctrine tells us and what ile kitu ya utu, humanity. Kama ni iseme venye watu niambianga mi uwengu, unajua niliacha, humanity. We go back and first of all understand, why can somebody actually afford and actually go for 20 lawyers to come and support him and tell him that to come and put their case that you're not supposed to be taken out of a public service office. Listen to the word public service. It's kind of like Bernard. Bernard, let me use your, just allow me to use you. Bernard, we know he's a pastor. He goes to church and he preaches, and he's a pastor. He's a God-given person to us. But now it's kind of like we tell Bernard, get out of that church. And Bernard is out there with 20 lawyers saying that uwezi nitoa mimi, unanitoa kama bishop kama nani kwa hii kanisa. I thought Bernard was supposed to be serving the Christians in that church. You know, it has come to a point, Bernard, and I'm so sorry. It has come to a point where Kenyans really stop cooking around and playing games with everything and making sense of something that is nonsensical. It has come a time, Bernard, and by the way, I'm not saying this in a nice way. I came from leo nimesikia ukisema we don't, hapa hivi hatusemangi Waislamu, hatusemangi nini, hatusemangi Wakatoliki, hatusemangi nini. Me, I'm a Catholic. I was born a Catholic. And I went to a seminary school. Of course, I never ended up to be a priest. But Bernard, lazima saa zingine kwanza turudi sisi wote kwanza tukae chini kwanza tujiulize, we have to have a meeting with ourselves. What is this? Nini kila mtu anakimbilia? Why would I have a lawyer to get me out of kutolewa public service? This Gachagua thing, okay, that's that. Okay, ya Ruto pia. Why would we even have these things that it's so hata hizi vitu tunaletanga impeachment kwa za what do you call them, hata kama ni MCA, I don't care. Why would you fight so much to, Bernard, why would I fight so much to give you service? What is so important that I need to give you service? Why can't I just go home na niende tu nikaendelea na maisha yangu? And then you have people here, lawyers, what they don't even practice what they went to school to. What their mothers and their fathers took them to school to do, they don't even practice it. They just get somewhere in there and they just go get it. But it's so dear to them that it cannot be taken from them. If you try to take it from them, then it becomes a whole national thing. And you can't even talk about it. Bernard, I think in this show now we need to start talking about, not just talking about politics, but talking about the ethical and the geographical ethical kind of way of talking to, I mean, who are you? What are you here for? I mean, hata kwa issue yetu, kuna watu wengine wanakuja hapa, like you said, people who just come to start problems. Lakini, we need to start actually being very ethical in what we are doing, because at the end of it, while we are playing these games, there are kids that are dying, there's humans that are dying, there's souls that are getting, na tunasema sisi ni Christians.
Mkora tunafunga tafadhali.
Nimesema kitu yangu, nimekuja kujidefend. Pole kama nimekosea mtu, lakini is the truth.
I agree with you, lakini mimi ukisema Mungu hajaniita mpaka nikuja na 20 lawyers to prove God has called me. How do you want me to walk away just like that? And it is God who sent me. You must prove it is not God. You must prove that
Mungu mwenyewe akuja ajitetee.
The same way I came by God, God should tell me to go. And you should not tell me God has told you to come and tell me to go. I must prove that I must stay to the far end. I get to you, Mamato, and I agree with you. There is no need of kung'ang'ania kukaa kwa ofisi ambaye ni ya public. Public office belongs to the public, and when your service there is no longer required, take a walk. And that's why all politicians need to understand. You get voted, yes, but you don't have to stay in that office forever. Always have an exit strategy. A matter can rise up. You can die midway or get sick along the way. So you shouldn't get in office to stay there until you die. We will need to deconstruct that properly so that people understand that public office belongs to the public. And when the public wants it, give it back to the public. Stop saying it's your office. You have a contract for 5 years and you are voted in for 5 years. There's no voting in for 5 years. There is voting in a general election. And the voting is not to give a contract. Voting is to determine among these competitors who should be, not to who has been sentenced to be in the office for 5 years. So we also need to make that clear so that wale watu wanakuja kwa public office waache kukwamilia hiyo ofisi. It's public office, belongs to the public. When the public wants it, give it back to the public and take a walk. Go back to your own life. Mama Mary, karibu tafadhali, toa maoni yako tunapo ngatuka.
Asante Bernard, na kusalimia, nasalimia wengine ambao wametoka, nilikuwa nawasikiza behind the curtains. Nasalimia Mkenya mkora, habari zenu, na hata wale wako kwa comment section na Wakenya wetu pahali mko. Tunazingatia na tunaendelea kuvumilia vumbi ambayo tunatupiwa na hawa watu. Jambo moja nilikuwa nataka kusema ni kuna mtu aliuliza kwa nini watu wanaenda kanisani kufanya siasa lakini hawezi kwenda msikitini. That one actually, sometimes back I mentioned that Waislamu walisema kutoka mwanzo wao hawahudumi watu ati kwa sababu ni wakubwa. Na ukiingia msikiti hata ukiwa wewe ni nani, ukute watu already wameingia. Hakuna kiti kiko pale mbele ati cha mtu mkubwa ati akiingia aonyeshwe pahali ya kuketi, hakuna. So everybody is treated equal, which I believe that is very proper. Everybody. In front of God's eyes, everybody is equal. Hakuna mtu mkubwa. Lakini hawa huwa wanapendelea sana kwenda kwa hizi makanisa whereby they are worshipped. Many of the churches really they have become crude. Pahali ambapo muna worship mtu binadamu. And I remember one very ridiculous worship, praise and worship I saw in Nairobi. It really made me sick. And I wondered whether people are sick or what is going on in Kenya, because that was too much, beyond comprehension. It was really bad. Public office, hiyo ni Mkenya mkora ameuliza. Hawa wameona mzinga wa nyuki. They cannot leave. They want to be there. Why? You know very well, Mkenya mkora. These people hapo wanapata kila kitu. Wana chances za kila aina. Wanapata mali, wanakuwa wealthy within a very short time. Do you tell them to leave? They can't. But if it is a different person who have got moral or humanity, surely you just work your days, you work your years, you work maybe your months. And if your term comes to an end, you just live in a clean way that maybe people can miss you and tell you to come back. These are people who, once they leave these offices, we will never, ever want to see their faces. We don't want them. We don't need them. They are crooks. In fact, hakuna, nilijaribu kuangalia nani hapo au wa UDA, nani hana blemish, nikakosa. There is only this lady who has been fighting. This is a lioness, a very strong woman, Wamushomba. Wamushomba, in the very beginning, I mistook her. And I actually made a sentiment that maybe anajaribu kuongea hivyo ndio watu wamkaribishe. Lakini nilirudi kusema sorry sana. Na mpaka wa leo, I say sorry, Wamushomba, wherever you are. I'm so sorry, my lady girl. Keep up and work hard, because the work you are doing is for every Kenyan. Sio at Mount Kenya, ama Central, ama wherever, it's for Kenyans. Because the argument she puts in parliament stands with every Kenyan who really think about their country. Hawa watu ni watu ambao wamevaa, wamekula, wameshiba, wamekuwa na mali, wako na mali na wanaendelea kupata mali, ndio wanapigana. Sisi ni nyasi. Ndovu wawili wakipigana, nyasi huumia. Sisi ndio nyasi. Na ndio unaona tunaumia namna hii. Unaona watu wanakufa kiholela wakikosa dialysis kwa sababu hakuna pesa. Walikuwa wamejitengenezea future plans, lakini zote zimezoroteka, zimeharibiwa. So that is where we stand. There before, Kiprio alisema ati Gachagua atakanyangwa na Ruto. But I don't understand why Kip would say that. I've been with Kip for many times, and today he said something that really made me shy off, and I felt bad because you cannot tell us that Gachagua atakanyangwa. Si Gachagua anakanyangwa, ni sisi tunakanyangwa. It is Kenyans who are being kanyangwad. Na Ruto hii ni kitu amezoea, and he should be stopped. He is not going to kanyanga us. Lakini aendelee tu, siku yake inakuja. Kwa sababu don't praise somebody who has been, I don't mean that Kiprio was praising him, but the way he was putting, it's like people who have got, who people can feel scared of this guy. But why should we be scared of this guy? Ati atamkanyanga. Sasa akikanyanga Gachagua na ako na mali, na sisi hatuna mali, tutakanyangiwa wapi? Hatutapatikana sisi, tutakanyangwa tuingizwe kwa matope. So we shouldn't be intimidated at all because of what he is doing. This guy needs to go. Na kwenda kwake, sa tusemi ati sisi tukapigane mangumi na yeye. There are so many ways of killing a rat. And we should even make it more than what we have in mind. How we can get these guys out. All of them. Not even one. Unaona huu mchezo ambao wamecheza wa kuingiana hapo broad-based government. Hii mambo haikuanza jana. Hii ni kitu ilianza very far away. And in fact, why I say so, tuliona baba Uganda wamesalimiana hapo na Museveni na Ruto. And many people questioned what is going on. After even the maandamano, now baba na Ruto wamekutana huko aje. What are they cooking? As a Kenyan, I have to be skeptical. I have to think what is going on here. Kwa sababu ile mambo inaendelea sasa, you can try to connect dots and see what was cooking there before. Tulichukua msaha, lakini imekuja kuwa ndio hivyo. So for me, I would say there are so many plans that they will not come to the table. They will not come to our faces, but the cooking is going on, whereby Kenyans, we should not relent. Sisi ndio wenye nchi na sisi ndio tutaumia. Hawa watu wametupangia na sisi tuwapangie. We should not respect them at all. Hawa si watu wa kurespectiwa. We should deal with them. And why should we fear them? We shouldn't. These are people who have gone there due to our fault. And so due to our fault, we can still get them out. Due to our fault. Kwa hivyo tupiganie nchi yetu. We shouldn't give up. Gachagua, let him fight for his right. If he finds it all right, or if he fights a good war, good for him. He is not fighting to serve us. He is fighting to serve himself or to keep what he has taken. And that is what stands. Lakini sisi tumechukua nini? Tumepata nini? These people, they are two bulls fighting. Na siwezi kukubalia ati tuwe sisi maskini wa roho kwa sababu ya watu wawili ambao wanapigana na wanapigana kivyao, hata wakileta those secrets of what they know or what they don't know. It is theirs because nobody went there because of their own. They went there because of us. And if they are not serving us, they are serving themselves. Why should we need them in that office? So my question is, Kenyans, are we Kenyans? Are we going to fight because of these guys? Are we going to be enemies because of these guys? What they have done to us, it's unbelievable. Na kwa hivyo Mkenya mwenzangu, Mjaluo, Mkalenjin, Mtaita, Mkikuyu, any tribe, Luya, everybody. Let's come together. We are the majority.
Mami,
And we are the people.
Mami, let me answer you that question. I am not going to fight anyone. Hata watu kwa hii channel. I am not going to fight my fellow Kenyan. I am going to be a fellow Kenyan, understand what they are saying, and I will listen everything. I am not going to fight you, and I refuse.
Thank you, Kenyan. Kenya Mkora. It is really hurting if we can be incited to have war between ourselves, knowing who are suffering right now, who are facing the problems, who are sleeping hungry, who are not able to go to school, who are not able to pay hospital bills. We are the people. And we should not accept these people to disorganize us. Let them be there. But we should know how we can penetrate and get them out of that office. Because if we start fighting ourselves, whose war are we fighting? Are we fighting the war for Gachagua or for Ruto or for Raila? We should not be confused, and we should not be misguided by what is going on. What we are fighting for our Kenya, the sovereign that we have been ordained by God. This is our gift from God, and that is where we belong. And we are not going to relent. We are not going to give up for our country because of those small sentiments they are bringing to us. Hiyo mambo yote wanafanya, wamekula wameshiba, wanataka kututapikia kwa sababu wameshiba. Can you imagine how much people are going through? And then these people are bringing impeachment of rich people. Even if they go home right now, they have enough for the future. Sisi ni nini tuko nayo? We have nothing. Ask yourself how many people wamebomolewa manyumba yao, wako wapi? Na hawa watu wanaongea, wanalala mansionette, wanaenda na ndege, wanakuwa served in their own house like a hotel. Na huyo mwenye alibomolewa nyumba, amejikokota, amejikunja pahali, akisikia baridi. Na si ati alikuwa anaomba, alikuwa na pahali yake ya kuishi. Sasa hiyo serikali mnasema, ndio hiyo imemtorosha, imemtoa pahali alikuwa anaishi. Hakuwa anaomba serikali waje wamjengee nyumba. Alikuwa anaomba Mungu wake, siku ziendelee akiwa pahali alikuwa. Kwa matope, kwa madebe, kwa magunia, hakujali. Hakuwa anaambia serikali ati nakaa kwa nyumba ya madebe, kuja mnijengee. Alikuwa amezoea hapo na alikuwa anajimudu. So for we Kenyans, we have learned enough. We have experience of these guys. They are all terrorists. They will not give us a breath, a time to breathe at all. The only thing is to sip our blood all the time. And this is not what we are going to let happen. Kenyans, we are one tribe, Kenyans. Hawa wasitugawanye ama kutuonyesha sisi ni wa mlima, sisi ni wa Nyanza, sisi ni wa Luya, sijui kutoka West Kenya. We don't care where we come from. We are all Kenyans, and that is our tribe. Hizo tribes zingine wanatengeneza ni zao na wakae nazo. Wakenya tuungane mkono. Me, I have been fighting for Kenyans to be together. Hata kama hatuna kiongozi akae, we can lead ourselves and we can live in our country peacefully with no harm. Sababu Wakenya wakisikizana, hakuna mgogoro. Isipokuwa hawa ndio wanatuletea hii shida yote. So Kenyans, let's unite. Our Kenya belong to us, not for those ones. Asanteni sana. Thank you, Bernard.
Okay, thank you, Mami. Thank you, Kenya Mkora. Thank you, all the guys on the comment section. Because of time, I must get out of here, right?
You have to give me my last last remarks.
Oh, please, I beg.
Ujeni, put your last remarks. I came in as a nini.
As what? A complaint?
Just as a mtutu wa kusema.
As a plaintiff.
Now you are an accused person.
Yes,
Okay.
I know, because I have a lot of
1 minute or two.
Okay.
Please.
So basically, Bernard, for the most time that you've been here and you are our leader, you've never had my closing remarks. So today you're going to have my closing remark. And I'm going to put it very genuinely. Na sitakimbia, nitaisema venye inafaa kukua. Mama Mary, what she said is very important and people need to understand what she was saying. It has come to a point, Bernard, in our country that even in this show that we do, kuna watu tu, they are just waiting to just attack. And that is what Kenya has become. But again, we don't look at what Mama Mary is saying, or even sometimes what you say, you as our chair. It has come to a point that Kenyans, mwenye ananisikiza, kuna watu wako mahali kwingi wanapitia vitu mingi. By the time unaanza kupiga mtu na unapiga kitu, kwanza jiangalie. Is the reason that you're finding hii kitu ya ndani watu wengi hata waielewi. Is the reason that you understand the motions that have been passed through the government, which is actually your life and your kids' life after you're gone out of this place. Amuielewi. I mean, watu wengi hawaelewi. Sisemi kila mtu haelewi. I'm not trying to put anyone down. Me, I have no, sina hiyo kitu. I'm a Christian. I'm a good man. I do my thing. But utaweza pata hata hapa hivi mtu anakugonga for no good reason. It's a tradition yenye imewekwa that you have to gonga mtu mwingine mwenye you feel they're saying something. Now, why am I saying that? I'm saying that because na ndio maana nimeletea kitu ya why is it so a life and death thing for you to be a public servant in a country that is actually your country, regardless where you live, whether you live outside, whether you live in the country, whether you live whatever. Why is it such a to do or die? I'm asking Kenyans, ladies and gentlemen, some of us have been here, even Bernard has been here for a very long time, trying to pass this message, even trying to use the Christianity side of it, because he's a reverend. But he's always welcomed also watu wenye ni Muslim, watu wenye ni Hindu. In fact, Daniel was just here. Toka Papau. You know, and he always welcomes. All I'm asking Kenyans, whether you like me, you don't like me, you like Bernard, you don't like Bernard, you don't, even the moderators, ama you don't like hata watu wote wenye wako hapa hivi. Be very careful what you judge, because that judgment might one day come back to you. And I think in Kenya today, we are in a judgment. I'm not a pastor. I used to be almost being a priest. But kuna mali imefika that our country, mali imefika saizi lazima kila mtu amke. Na nikisema amke sikwambii uende maandamano. Nakwambia uamke in your own way, that we fix this country once and for all. You might not get the fruits of ile kitu yenye watu wanafanya saizi, but maybe your daughter, your son might get that fruit. Tuache kupigana sisi wenyewe, tusikizane na pia tujielewe. Na tujiulize swali niliuliza Bernard na niliuliza kwa show. Kwa nini it's so hard for someone to be impeached? Why? What are they fighting for? Because it's supposed to be public service. And Bernard, I am about to walk out of this hizi vitu zote hizi tunafanyanga hapa hivi ndio pia, cause pia mimi nimekuwa nikichapwa. Unajua mimi nimekuwa nikichapwa huko, watu wananigonga na kila kitu. Hata mimi niko about kutoka kwa hii channel, niko about kutoka kwa hizi vitu za kujaribu kuongelesha watu. For my service, I'm appreciative. Lakini nimefika mahali nishaanza kuitwa mlevi, nishaanza kuitwa vitu mingi. You know, Kenyans just know how to do that thing. So for me, what I'm trying to say is that it has come a time that kila mtu ajipange, na kama unajipanga, tukishikana sisi wote we are better. Na lakini tukianza kuchapana sisi wenyewe, tunachapana na sisi ndio tunagongwa. So what is your enemy gonna do? Atakuwa amefaidika. We all need to work together. And me, I'm walking away that kuna time utanipata hata siko kwa hii channel. I'll walk away because I can see the fight is not even with the government or with the people who are killing us. They've already won the fight. It's within us. Sisi wenyewe ndio tunachapana. Si wao, hao wanajua tu kufacilitate. So basically, Kenyans, I'm talking to Kenyans today to say that you need to go back. Kama Matua alikosea, nimeomba msamaha. Kama kuna mtu mwingine alikosea, mpigie simu. We are all here. Ama talk to them or tell them umenikosea hapa. Lakini tukigongana sisi wenyewe, that's what they want. Disarray. And then you'll find some things that are uncouth. Things that do not even make any sense to anybody's mind. Haifanyi sense. So we are tired. Wacha mimi ninyamaze Bernard, nimenyamaza basi. Pole. Nimeenda.
Sort of your show. Thank you for the remarks. Thank you for the contribution. Thank you, Mami. We really have a lot that needs to be done rightly, and what involves more than one person will require agreement. Two cannot work together except they be in an agreement. And that agreement needs to be tied to a particular goal, a particular focus. What divides us is pursuing different interests at the same time. As we are saying Kenya for all Kenyans, there are those who are saying Kenya for all Kenyans means Kenya for me without you. So that redefining of everything has to take place, but that's a responsibility we must shoulder. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for making the show a success today. Please, let's keep sharing the link, participating fully as we wait for the next program. On this hilarious clip, tumetoka.
Bigiji, ushakubali kuenda home?
Siwezi kubali.
Kama umekataa kuenda home, nataka tuimbie wale watu walidhani utaenda home na wale MPs walikuimpeach. Sawa sawa? Correct. Tuende hivi.
Continue.
Wanaotaka uende nyumbani. Wanaoguza murima yako.
What?
Wanaopiga kelele bungeni bila sababu. Na hata wale MPs waliovote yes kukutoa. Wote ni walevi.